Good morning, welcome to North Harbour Stadium in Auckland. Finally, we get some baseball this weekend. It is Sunday morning, but game one of this four-game series between the Auckland Tuatara, the home side, and the travelling Canberra Cavalry. This is 2 versus 3 in the North East Division, a crucial day of baseball in the overall scheme of things in this Australian Baseball League season. Good afternoon, or good morning, thanks for joining us. Dale Budge with Mark Irwin. Mark, this is a massive day when you think for both teams. The Tuatara go into this series with a 2-game lead over the Cavalry. One team will make the playoffs, one team will miss out. Massive opportunity for the Cavs to grab a couple of wins here today in a doubleheader and get on even par. A huge opportunity for the Tuatara to grab a couple of wins and blow it out.
100%. I mean, let's look at last week. The Cavs, I think, had 3 wins. We went the other way with 3 losses. So I think right now this is super important for us to get the job done. 2 games today, 2 wins will put us in a good position, sort of give us that 4-game buffer, leaving it down to the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Cavalry come in with some form. The Tuatara probably not at their best and looking to try and get back to some winning ways. A win for the Tuatara, though, today, 1 win, is actually worth 2 in the overall scheme of things, because the first 2 games of the series washed out. It's deemed a win each. A win for the Tuatara would mean that at worst they split the series and therefore would hold the tie-break, having won 3 games out of 4 in Canberra earlier in the season. They would hold the tie-break. So for Canberra to get in ahead of the Tuatara, they would have to have a better record, not just the same record.
So they'd need to come at us, effectively try and win both games today. We'll be the same, but I see, we're kicking off with Marata on the mount. I think Mincy realises just how important this is.
Oh, absolutely huge day for both clubs, and basically it's almost playoffs have come early, haven't they? As we see the 2 head-to-head records there, 12-16 the Cavs, 14-14 the Tuatara at 500. Opportunity with 2 games today for one of those sides to either open up that gap a little bit. A 4-game lead heading into the last 2 weekends of the series would take a lot of chasing down for the Cavs. They win 2, they take some momentum. They've got a tough series against Perth next week, but they are at home, so yeah, it's all on. There is the Cavalry lineup. Jake McKenzie, Cole Roederer. We've seen those players set the platform for the Cavs all season. Cam Warner, the veteran in the 3-hole, and Boss Moanara, of course, with his New Zealand ties, a power-hitting first baseman. Robbie Perkins, what a great player he has been in the 5-hole. Tillman Pugh, the third, will play left field. Chris Quitzer at third base, 2 very good American imports. Mitchell Edwards will DH today. Michael Campbell in right field, and Nick Belzer, right-handed starting pitcher for the Cavs. As we see Jake McKenzie and co getting ready. Cole Roederer there. Crowd building now. It's been a disappointing weekend. It's been a disappointing season in terms of weather, hasn't it? It's rained basically all week. Still, the field is pretty damp in places. As we see the Tuatara lineup there. Greg Cullen making his debut, the Baltimore Orioles prospect. He will DH this morning. Caber Rodriguez at shortstop, Jack Biggers in left field. Clayton Campbell Jr. moves up to the 4-hole. Probably been the form hitter for the Tuatara the last few weeks. Lowland, the catcher, at the 5-hole. Matt Feinstein drops down the order. Jason Matthews at third base. Jack Berry in right field, and Wyatt Hoffman with that big home run in the most recent series a little over a week ago at second base today. Toru Marata, former big league pitcher, gets the start on the mound. You heard Mark Irwin talk about it. Key game first. Whoever wins this one takes some serious ascendancy into the second one. It's such a crucial game. The Tuatara can get that one. They know that they hold the season head-to-head record with the Cavs, which could become a factor over the last couple of weeks as both these teams try to make the playoffs. The Cavs a win in the opening game opens the door, and then it's bonus territory. They can win the second one as well. The weather is holding off. It's been dreadful in Auckland for the last few days. It's been dreadful all summer, let's be honest. Really disappointing not to get any baseball firstly on Friday or at all yesterday. The rain sort of stopped early afternoon, a little bit later in the day, but the damage had been done. You walk around, Mark, you were out there pre-game this morning, and you can still feel quite a bit of moisture under the surface. Playable, but won't be easy conditions for anyone trying to change direction, right?
Oh, 100%. You can see it now. Looking at the cutout, the darker areas, you're going to tell it's still going to be a wee bit sticky around those areas. You know, Kevin Napier, our senior groundsman, told us about an hour and a half ago that as long as the rain held off, we're going to get a start at 11. And, this is what we wanted. You saw in the sheds this morning, both teams are itching to get out there and play some baseball.
Oh, you just want the game to be decided. You want these playoff spots to be decided on the diamond. You want a team to win it, to earn the right. And it's frustrating when the weather doesn't allow. Thankfully, the overhead conditions are pretty good. There's not much wind around today. So far, so good in terms of overhead rain. There is a little bit forecast late in the day. We think we should be all right. In the 7-inning games here in Auckland, and we welcome Mark Watson, our play-by-play caller, who joins us in the commentary. And Watto, we've gone through the lineups. We've talked about the importance of this day in terms of the overall scheme of things, playoffs and whatnot. A massive day for both teams.
Well, I think a day for the Tuatara to prove, are they the real deal? Awful against the Sydney Blue Sox, not great against a very, very good Adelaide Giants side. Enough excuses. There's been enough time. There's been enough discussion. We need to find out today whether this team deserves a place in the playoffs. This team is good enough to go the whole way.
Well, this is essentially a quarter-final today, Watto, really, when you think about it. One of these two teams will make it one way.
So Toru Marata, boy, wonderful player, a veteran, first pitch. Just high is the call, and we say this in all broadcasts, but really important that the pitchers get a pretty good read quickly on Matt Pearson, the home plate umpire, in terms of what his strike zone is. And so Jake McKenzie, their shortstop, first up to bat.
Already seeing a difference that the home series, the corresponding series in Canberra, McKenzie was very trigger happy with the swing. It was first pitch swinging almost on every occasion.
Well, he's well and truly ahead on the count, isn't he? So 3-0. And this won't be the start that Mintz will want if he's walked. Does not want to get these lead-off hitters on base early. It's been one of the weaknesses, I guess, in the Tuatara pitching. Again. And so gets the count back to 3-2. So a really good comeback here from Marata. You'd almost say a deliberate start from him.
Yes and no. I think he seems to be just slipping a wee bit at the front end of his drop there.
Oh, got him swinging. They asked to see whether he went through with that swing. We might just see if we can have a little bit of a replay here, see whether or not there was any intent on the swing.
I thought it was all right. First glance, let's have a look at the replay. The Stream Shop team here. Yeah, I think he holds something to see the side on angle a wee bit, but ball was definitely out of the zone. Recognised it.
That's okay.
I think that's the right call.
Yeah, both sides are going to need to make the adjustment. Slightly slippery, very humid, very moist conditions. And I know Canberra were really eager to try and play yesterday, so no excuses from them if they find themselves slipping in the field, slipping out there on the mound.
It will play a part in regards to base running and moving around these bases very quickly. There are some soft spots, especially around first base there.
Yeah, 100%. This is a powerful offense from the Cavs. I think strength of their play is definitely around their offense.
Yeah, Cole Rodera is the batter up. Gets a swing, great comeback from Marata. Really, really good off-speed pitch.
It's been the Tuatara offense that has struggled, been almost anemic over the last 3 weeks or so. So a big opportunity against a team that they scored plenty of runs against in the early season series. Can this ignite them? And the presence, obviously, of Greg Cullen too.
And swinging high and coming round to try and take the catch will be Caber Rodriguez at shortstop. Really good catch. Runner goes back to first. No runners advance. And so almost a little bit of confusion, but in the finish, that one area a couple of weeks ago got the Tuatara into trouble, but they sorted it out early.
You might see here in the replay as McKenzie looks to head back there to first base, how he just sort of, once the catch is made, you see him slip there. So that'll play a real part in proceedings today.
Yeah, just some comms, two players that know each other really well, Caber Rodriguez and Jax Biggers, both with the Texas Rangers organisation. You see them talking it over. Biggers was there in position probably to make the catch coming forward. It's always the infielder that has right away, but if you're running towards the ball, looking towards it, probably should overcall it.
And I guess if you're coming forward too, you've got that ability, haven't you, to make the throw at first if you need to. You've got that ability to get the mechanics right for the throw to look to try and throw a runner out. But one of those balls just in that sort of no man's land, isn't it? 50-50, almost like the Yorker in cricket. Do you come forward, do you go into the back foot in that moment of hesitation? But fortunately not for. Now, Cam Warner, big player, wonderful player Warner, and then Boss Manaroa to come, the man with New Zealand's heritage.
You see that issue again there as Mackenzie dummied to sort of take off, took a couple of steps towards second base, and you can see him sort of skid and slip. It's going to be a challenge stealing bases today. The conditions are not ideal given the amount of rain that we've had.
He's good though, Murata, the sensei. Look at that, just letting them know I'm here.
Yeah, I think we'll see a bit of that today with the pitchers, knowing that it's very slippery around first base here, giving them the opportunity. You'll probably see them taking leads as if there was a lefty out there. They won't be getting too deep.
We'll get some swinging too. Good for Murata, boy. He disguises that pitch well, doesn't he?
Now, Warner wouldn't have seen a lot of the Tuatara pitches. He didn't play much in the opening series or the second series of the season in Canberra. Had some health issues or injury issues and only featured in one game, I think, and had very limited role to play. Great player, has been for a long time.
And now I've seen a miracle, and I might get someone to tell me what it is. There's something blue up in the sky. There is something blue up in the sky.
It's the hot yellow thing.
Hovering.
It's the hot yellow thing that's concerning me.
Okay, so foul ball away. So Cam Warner here, what he'll be wanting to do is certainly look to try and soak up as many pitches as he can from Murata, have what they call a good at-bat. And if he does find himself back in the dugout, look to try and at least advance the runner into scoring position. Another foul ball away. Count stays at 0-2.
It just gets a piece to stay alive there, does Warner.
Now we do welcome our viewers in across Sky Platform 1. Second game at 3 o'clock will be on the pop-up channel on Sky if you're looking to go the double header. You're wondering where the game is.
Mackenzie's made his way onto the grass infield to try and take off. There he goes.
He does go. And he will be safe at second. So he does now put himself in that scoring position. So runner on second.
So he got the punch out though. So Warner goes down. 2 outs now, but Moana, dangerous hitter. New Zealand fans should know plenty about Boss Moana, been a New Zealand Diamondbacks player. He will play his 300th game this afternoon if we get the double header in, and so far so good on that front.
You remember him 2 years ago hitting one down that right field line up onto the Sal's bank, up onto the Sal Pizza bank, and so he does bring a lot of strength, Boss Moana. He wouldn't look out of place in the front row of an All Black team, would he? Probably have a bit more mobility than the current All Black team, to be fair.
Sure he would. Ooh, as Lynn throws behind the runner. Mackenzie out there at second base. He'd taken a fair few steps off towards third. Caber Rodriguez wasn't really ready for it. So the sun beating down for the first time in what feels like an age in Auckland.
Yeah, very, very humid conditions too. Don't underestimate the impact that'll have on the way the ball travels. Generally high humidity, things will move faster. See it in the sport of cycling, track cycling particularly, always high humidity in a velodrome, and it's almost counterintuitive. You'd think that the thicker the air, the slower something would travel, but it's actually the other way. And he does get some bat, foul ball. Just a little bit of a stinger.
He fouled it off his foot, I think. Just taking a few steps out towards first base just to give himself a bit of time. That always hurts. Murata playing ball here, just pulling some of the dirt out of his cleats. Clay already sticking to the bottom of his cleat, very gluggy up there on the mound at the moment. Tacky.
Yeah, big game for both teams. Really it is. To a die for Tuatara. Are you good enough? Oh, good this time. Ball cool though. Tries to paint the inside corner. Just a little bit too much on the inside, and count goes to now 2-2. But this is a situation Murata loves. Such a wonderful repertoire that he brings to the mound. They call him the sensei, the teacher. In this league, he's become also known as Mr. Sayonara.
Well, Lynn won on that one, didn't get it.
Yeah, and that's where Lynn, too, an understanding good catcher, is trying to create the movement of their glove, trying to create that strike zone, almost trying to create the illusion if need be. This time gets him, walks him, so runners suddenly on first and second. Not an ideal start, but I tell you what, difficult conditions. Players have been wrapped up. And just in regards to that, Dale, in terms of training, what have the Tuatara been able to train? Have they had to go indoors? Have they been out at the field house with Andrew Mark out there in Pakaranga? What have they been? It's
been indoors, unfortunately, almost all week. They did get outside and throw outside here yesterday late afternoon when the rain had stopped overhead. It was obviously pretty wet underfoot, but they were able to throw on grass, not able to get on the diamond, obviously. Yeah, feel like it's been cooped up. Been the same for both teams. No excuses there. As
Guy gets plenty on that, drills that one down, and comfortably taken. It's out there in left field, and that will bring the inning to a close.
They got away with that a little bit. The Tuatara walking a couple of runners, a dangerous offence to be walking players, giving them free passes, and Perkins lines one to left field, just picked out the fielder. Hard hit ball, but Tuatara get out a little bit of a jam, Mark Irwin.
Yeah, good catch taken from Jack Spigger.
Yeah, no, it was well taken, but it was also great to watch. You watch someone like Perkins just sat on the breaking ball, ripped it down there, but again, Jack Spigger's just very solid out there in left field.
Well, an exciting opportunity shortly here for Tuatara fans. They're about to see Greg Cullen make his debut out of the Orioles.
So we see a few of the Tuatara players throw out some balls to the crowd.
Yeah, good crowd starting to slowly build up. They, like the players, have been somewhat frustrated, I guess, by the weather here, but good atmosphere, and we're expecting good atmosphere this afternoon. So if you do live in the Greater Auckland region, you want to just see some world-class baseball. And let's not underestimate, I say world-class, I don't say it lightly, I'm not trying to over-promote this league, I'm not trying to over-promote this game, but Greg Cullen is about to make his debut. To give you an idea of the standard of baseball, tell us about Greg Cullen, who will be first hole batting first up today for the Tuatara. New to the team.
Yeah, Orioles prospect came in during the week. This is his first appearance here for the rest of the season. Orioles are very high on him. They were so high they were prepared to send him out here. They pay for the trip out here. It costs considerable money. Tuatara will welcome him with open arms. And the Orioles expect him to go to Major League Spring Training in a month or so's time. And we think he'll either break camp with the Orioles or be at AAA. So we get our first look at him. Short, stocky utility player, can play at third base, can play in the outfield. He's at DH this morning. Very short left-handed compact swing. Darren Bragg, a big fan of a really, really simple but efficient swing. And our first chance at seeing him, he will have a look at right-hander Nick Bowser for the Cavs.
Yeah, big opportunity for Bowser too. So clearly, knowing this is a two-game series, I guess what this does provide both sides is the opportunity for depth in their pitching stocks. It's not them having to necessarily manage it over 4 games now. They can throw all their best out there. Both teams will be saying, no, it's the very best pitchers today over the 2 games.
Yeah, it'll be short leash for sure for the starters for both teams. Some handy relievers, both bullpens available. So I think either side gets in front. Expect them to do whatever it takes to try and win this opener.
So number 69 is Cullen. First pitch from Bowser. There's a ball. Outside again, so 2-0 the count. 2 balls, no strikes. It's got the look, hasn't he, Bowser? What do they chew these days? Gum? They don't seem to chew the old tobacco anymore. This time, high, inside. 3-0 the count.
So no Su-Wei Lin this series, still recovering from that knock he took, just a contusion on the arm last series.
And that's a strike every day of the week, so first strike for Bowser. interesting to see. We haven't seen it yet, but it'll be interesting to see just sort of what change-up Bowser does have, or what sort of repertoire he does bring. So far it's been pretty much straight down the middle. I've got to say that Cullen not happy with that. Not happy with that strike at all, but he's going to need to adapt to the home plate umpire. We have another look here. Painted the outside corner.
Same worse call.
This time another fast ball and strikes him out. So first up for Greg Cullen, and he is struck out, but just an opportunity, I guess, to get a bit of a feel for things here in the ABL.
Kiva Rodriguez.
And immediately you notice here Cullen having a chat to Jack's Biggers, just letting him know what he's seen out there. And that is a key part, isn't it, Mark Irwin, going back and providing some intel for your batters coming for the rest of your team?
Absolutely, absolutely. Just like you see in cricket, passing on that information.
And Kiva Rodriguez looks to try and go long early. It is going back. The catch will be taken in centre field. Really good catch too from Michael Campbell, but good to see Kiva Rodriguez. Got plenty on that, just held up a little bit. So 2 up, 2 down. Good economy from the pitcher, Nick Belzer.
Yeah, Rotorua had to get on his bike there, and like considered, I think we could see there he underestimated just how much distance he was going to have to make. It is quite soggy out there, so tracking back to get that one, not quite as easy as perhaps it would be on a normal day. Just a little bit heavier underfoot. You have to really reach to get it.
Yeah,
good job.
It was Cole Rhetoric. My apologies. I think I said it was Michael Campbell, named after the great New Zealand golfer Michael Campbell. I'm sure he's not, but
just about as old as Michael Campbell, isn't he? No. He's been a very good player, Michael Campbell, for both Canberra Cavalry and the Sydney Blue Sox.
And so Jack Biggers swings and gets a bit of bat on that. Foul ball called. Yeah, intriguing first couple of innings for both teams. Having to make the adjustment. Probably more just having to get used to just some of the subtle little environmental factors due to the weather. This time, fast ball. Bowser, looking at Bowser, he doesn't look like there's much in terms of off-speed pitches here. We haven't really sort of seen a curveball. We haven't sort of seen any sliders.
Pretty heavy diet of fastball so far. See what he... Something off speed.
Gets that high, and that should just be a little pop-up comfortable fly taken by Jake McKenzie at shortstop. So 3 up, 3 down. And Nick Bowser doing a really good job on the mound for the Canberra Cavalry. Hope you are enjoying coverage here from North Harbour Stadium. Dale Budge alongside of me and Mark Irwin.
Yeah, don't really sort of see that either starting pitcher was quite at their best in that opening frame, but both of them getting the job done, getting the outs reasonably efficiently. A couple of loud outs. Perkins drilled one to left field and saw Kiva Rodriguez get a nice piece of contact and allowed out to deep centre field. So far, so good. No damage for either team.
Probably the best sort of contact we've seen out of Rodriguez now for the last couple of series, which is nice to see, taking him out of that lead-off spot.
Yeah, I think Mincy's just re-evaluating that lineup. Was pretty consistent through the opening 6-7 weeks, and they will get the job done for the most part, but last couple of series in particular, things haven't quite fired offensively. So the addition of Greg Cullen, trying to mix things up a wee bit. Not sure that Cullen will always be in the lead-off role. Be interesting to see what happens next week when Suwei Lin is back in the lineup, just sitting this week with that arm contusion. The ironic thing is he's probably okay to play now. But on Friday night, I didn't think he was going to be good to go for the first couple of games, the amount of swelling there from a week ago.
So coming up now to bat for the Canberra Cavalry in their lineups will be Tillman Pugh the third. We'll just go back and have a look at that, probably the first real off-speed pitch we saw from Nick Bowser. And that bat just breaking. Amazing how many bats do break. It just shows the velocity and how much the bats are very much constructed around the sweet spot.
Tillman Pugh now.
So Pugh has a look at the first pitch and straight down Broadway from Toru Murata.
Pugh started the season with a hiss and a roar. It's quieted down a little bit by the Tuatara pitches in that early series.
Yep, foul ball away. We'll go behind on the count, 0-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bat on that, another foul ball away, so we've got a bat so far from Tillman Pugh.
He's certainly in the battle.
Yeah, just talk about the importance of a good at-bat, even if it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get yourself on first base or advance a runner.
We're looking for a quality at-bat, and normally myself I look on that between 5 or 6 pitches, but it's going to battle with the pitcher, sort of utilising the arm a wee bit more, taking the pitch numbers.
Gets plenty on that. That is going long. That is going deep. And the catch is taken in left field by Jack Spigger. Really good catch too. He had some work to do. In fact, it is in right field, Jack Barry, that came around and take it. So I'm feeling a little bit dyslexic today, I've got to say, getting my right and lefts mixed up. I think we're all a little bit out of tune, aren't we, with the weather at the moment? But really good catch, and the finish taken by Kangaroo Jack Barry.
Another loud out for the Cavs. Making some noise. It's not too far away. Barry took it and then banged it to the wall. So only a few feet shy. And another dangerous hitter in the batter's box now, and Chris Quincer, the third baseman.
Yeah, Quincer has a look at that. That strike is given. That was, I think, that area where Lyle Lynn earlier was saying, hey, hang on a minute.
Quincer was very good in the series in Canberra, week 2.
Yeah, one thing you've seen, and it's not dissimilar these days, as he comes around, looks to try and take the catch out there in left field, but it is a foul ball. One thing I think we've seen, aren't we, in this league particularly, and we've seen a lot more, not dissimilar to cricket, there's no real weaknesses in the batting lineup anymore. You've got to be strong 7, 8, 9, 7 hole, 8 hole. You can probably get away with one, but they probably need to bring something defensively pretty special to the table.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw that last week with the Giants, and we talked about it on numerous occasions, just how well they batted through 1 to 9. And that is a standard. At this level, you know you can fill a batting roster, but it's defensively knowing they're strong as well.
Yeah, and you've got to have that. I mean, let's be honest, when it comes to the big games, defence will win it. Now, Murata, another foul ball away. Count will stay at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, if you look at going to college on your stats, in particular as an outfielder or something like that, the coach is going to look at your batting stats, going to make sure you can hit the ball.
This Cavs side does bat deep. Edwards in the 8 hole, Michael Campbell, the veteran, in the 9 hole.
Yeah, top of the second and not too far away from back through the order. But it does look like Murata has just settled down a little bit now, starting to get some more consistency, but plenty of bat on that too. Another foul ball, so another really good at bat here from Quincer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both managers handle things, whether they are going to trust a starter to go through a second time through the order.
And now this one will be a single out to right field, and so runner will go on base. So that's a good hit from Chris Quincer at the top of the second inning.
You can see there how wet the outfield is. That ball was hit hard and it just crawled its way out to right field. The right fielder Barry walked out to get it. So that's just something to keep in mind. If a ball gets hit into a gap, it's not going to run to the wall as easy as it might do on another day.
Yeah, and that's where the outfielders, they'll make that adjustment as well, won't they? They'll be aware of that. They'll have to adapt to that pretty quickly. But also, too, it might just, put a little bit of doubt in some of those outfielders in terms of just how quickly they do get off the mark. This time, outside, look for the strike, didn't quite get it. Murata, good call there from the home plate umpire. And that is Matt Pearson. this time. Another big foul ball. And there we go, one of the great benefits of turning up, being young, loving your baseball. You go catch that, that's a souvenir you get to take home. That's pretty much the price of entry.
So Murata just stepping off the mound again to deal to those cleats. It's that sort of day.
Just what you were saying before, Dale, around the pitches. Let's be honest, I think the managers both understand the importance of these two games today, so I think there will be a short leash.
Yeah, get some swinging now. Looks to try and force something down the right field line, but another ball into foul territory. First base today, Clayton Campbell Jr. for the Tuatara. And what a season he's had so far, and along with his cousin Jason Matthews at third, just showing that New Zealand is producing some quality baseball players. We are starting to see a pathway, and he gets plenty on that again. This time looking to try, and catch comes round, and this time Jack Spiggers takes the catch, and a really good catch as well. Had a lot of work to do there, and also just in the periphery had that little wall that he had to be aware of in some slippery conditions, so really good catch.
Now batting.
You look here, look, his eyes on it at all times, slowing his feet down. Eyes to the ball, glove to the ball. That's some great work out there by Biggers. But that's the experience. That's why he's out there. That's why he's wearing this uniform.
Yeah, Michael Campbell, the right fielder. Another lefty. Never seen a sport with so many left-handed players in the sport of baseball. Remarkable. And first up pitch, and he looks to almost repeat the dose of his teammate, Mitchell Edwards. This time, though, physics works in his favour. And the ball finds itself into foul territory. Earlier today, nice to see Mike Riley throw out the customary pitch.
Been a great servant to the game here in New Zealand for a very long time. Mike Riley, one of the originals.
Made the honours list for his services to baseball.
I think named all of his kids, didn't he, after Major League Baseballers as well. That's how passionate he is.
Still playing the ripe old age of 85 or whatever he is. He's been a great servant to the game, Mike Riley. Good, one of the real good sorts as well.
Well, he grew up in a good street in Mount Albert and went to a really good school in Mount Albert Grammar, along with Andrew Laird, whose son Eaton Laird is in the lineup today. I think Eaton's another Mount Albert Grammar old boy. Have we mentioned Mount Albert Grammar enough already? Probably. 0-2 the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Into the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Not 100% sure, but if I've got my facts right, I think Mike Riley would have probably been part of one of the first representative teams, the West City Blues, back in the day. The Matt Borchers, Lars, and quite a few of the lads.
But that's
Regan
great.
Wood, I think.
But it's great, isn't it, that we are seeing the original pioneers in baseball in this country. We're seeing the guys that are actually part of the reason why we find ourselves in this position today, as we see another ball into foul territory from Michael Campbell.
It was great a few years back when we had the World Masters Games out here in New Zealand. I put a team together for that here, and we had the Mike Rileys, Regan, Ryan Flynn at the time. Pretty much all the old heads, Matt Borchert.
You haven't mentioned the scores.
Not worth it. Not worth the mention.
Now, goes high, goes long, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is another very good catch taken. And Jack Spiggers finds himself back in the action. And that brings the top of the second to a close. So really good pitching from Toru Murata.
Okay, so what's going on down there?
Well, one thing I must be enough time for the slow game with that game, eh?
We've got for the Tuatara, Clayton Campbell, Lyle Lynn, Matt Feinstein. We've talked about the bats just simply haven't fired for this Tuatara team. What can they have done in the last sort of week or so to make, particularly not being able to get outside, not being able to train properly in it? I mean, what's the message? How much is this psychological? How much of this is technical?
Probably psychological mostly. I mean, most of these guys, you don't play the game professionally if you can't play it. You know, you've got to trust your skills, trust what works. It's a funny game, baseball, because the more you analyse it, it's a game where there's so much analysis these days, and you look at every little aspect of your hitting, and when things aren't going well, you you try too hard, you try to tweak things and make adjustments, but what you end up doing is getting away from what works for you. Sometimes you just have to accept you're going to go through, little flat patches, trust that your stuff is good, trust that your technique is good enough to bounce back, and you'll find that, inevitably when there's a trough, there'll be a peak as well, and you can't help but hit the ball.
Good mental composure, trust your hands, trust yourself. I mean, a lot of it is mental at the moment. Getting out, knowing the difficulty of the grounds today, the atmosphere, and knowing how important these games are. I think we can see some sort of light warm-up going on down there in the Tuatara bullpen at the moment.
It's Elliot Johnston warming up, so they've been once through the order, the Cavs, through the first 2 innings here.
So it'll be Clayton Campbell into the batter's box, 19 years of age, currently with the Detroit Tigers.
Certainly been one of the standouts with the bat for the Tuatara.
He plays first base, also a very good catcher. Has a look at that, gets some bat on that, and it doesn't manage to get through, so a comfortable out at second base. So a lovely little 4-3 play. And so Cam Warner goes across to Boss Mahanaroa. And now Lyle Lynn, this very impressive catcher out of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's been an asset. He just looks... Just got that, he's got a little bit of an X factor. There's an explosiveness about him, particularly as a catcher.
He's overdue. I think he's overdue here at the plate, but no, he certainly just brings a confidence, an air of confidence about him when you talk to him, when you see him in the tunnel.
Yeah, he's a patient player too. We'll have a look at that first pitch. It's inside, so 1-0 the count.
He's a very big and solid lad too. They certainly bring some power.
And this time gets some bat on that, but ground out to third base. So another 5-3 play, 2 up, 2 down. Not a great at bat so far for the Tuatara, but really good for Nick Bowser on the mound for the Cavalry.
Well, the good thing is they are making solid contact, the Tuatara bats, which is better than what they had done in some of the earlier series. But
consistently, we're not finding gaps, are we? We're not putting the ball into the right places, which has been the difference between what we saw with the Tuatara and what we saw with the Adelaide Giants. Now we are relying on Matt Feinstein. Boy, Mr. Consistency Feinstein, hard to argue his contribution to this team. Somewhat unorthodox in his stance. Straight down Broadway. First good up pitch from Bowser. Time doesn't get the strike, so 1-1 the count. Get some bat on that, and this time it will be a single out to left field. And so Tillman Pugh, the third, comes around, does the fielding, runner on base, so good from Feinstein.
Maybe turning the commentator's curse around the other way.
Into a positive, you reckon?
That's it. As soon as we talk about them not finding the gaps, there we go. We started talking home runs last week, the Adelaide Giants, and away they went.
Well, now an opportunity for one of the Tuatara's favourites, and Jason Matthews playing third base today, to see if can't advance the runner, because it'll be 3 outs for the Tuatara. Just nice to go long, wouldn't it? Just nice to put one out over the Teal Monster. Down there in left field, has a look at the first pitch, well and truly outside. Finds himself ahead on the count early, 1-0. Mark Irwin alongside of me, and Mr. Baseball himself, Dale Budge.
You know it's not going to get old, Dale.
No.
This time, another low pitch. So, Tillman, chance here for the Tuatara to have runners on first and second. What does he come back with here?
And we know how patient Matthews is in the box. We've seen that a number of times over the last couple of series.
Matthews just like a coiled spring waiting to explode. Has a look at that pitch, straight down Broadway. 2-1 the count. There's Gus Ledger in the background.
Making sure that...
first base coach today.
Good to see him back from Japan.
Voicing goes as Matthews fouls one away.
It'd be interesting too. Cam Perkins, experienced catcher. Not a big man, Perkins, but very athletic.
He's got a hose for an arm.
Oh, that's outside and high. So full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Big pitch in the context of this game early on for Nick Bowser. Comes back, gets him swinging, strikes him out. 3 up, 3 down, and that will bring the bottom of the second to a close. Still tied up at 0-0 here at North Harbour Stadium between the Tuatara, the home team, and the Canberra Cavalry.
Let's think a wee bit that probably Steve Mintz and Keith Ward would probably be looking for a wee bit more action by this point with only 2 7-innings games today.
Yeah, certainly do. Both teams. And look, loud outs from the Cavs certainly had a couple of well-hit balls to the outfield that were chased down. Tuatara hitting the ball a little bit better perhaps than they had done the previous 2 series, but like what I said, still not finding gaps consistently. And early days, we want to see the bats improve. Needs to be a big adjustment that Tuatara have to make this series and over the remaining weeks if they want to make any kind of run in the ABL this season.
And as you mentioned earlier, how well the bats fired against Canberra in the last series at Manuka over there in Canberra.
But it's early in the season, isn't it? Not a lot of historical data on a lot of these imports yet. Not quite sure what their strengths and weaknesses are as the series go on. There's more television coverage, there's more opportunity to do your homework, and you start to get figured out a little bit. And you sort of hope that as the season goes, your hitters also make that adjustment.
And there's not too much scouting you can't do online these days. There's so much information out there about these players. Sometimes you wonder what's right and what's wrong. But for somebody that's interested in stats, it's all there for the taking.
So Murata coming back out here for the top of the third. Lindsay happy to go through the lineup a second time with veteran Japanese star.
Yeah, and Jake McKenzie will be in the batter's box. Cole Rodera will be on deck. And it'll be Cam Warner, Boss Moana Roa. Why haven't we seen Boss Moana Roa in a Tuatara shirt yet, Dale Budge? Just well and truly established in Canberra, is he?
Yes, his life is very much in Australia. He has traditionally found it hard to play all games in the series. Had he been available, his work commitments didn't prevent him. He would have played a lot more than 300 games.
And he gets some bat on that too, and that is a single up through to centre field. And Matt Feinstein will do the fielding, but another lead-off runner on base. More frustration for the coaching staff.
Not sure if you saw that though, again, how slowly that ball made its way out there to centre field.
Next batter, number 20.
Yeah, McKenzie, first pitch swinging that time round. He finds himself on base. Now we saw him take his lead to the grass infield, and he's going to do it again, I think, here. Just finds a little bit more traction on the hard grass, the turf, as opposed to the cutout dirt. There he is.
Exactly.
And runner goes.
And they look to try and pick him off, but he is safe at second, comfortably safe. Caber Rodriguez coming around from shortstop.
Very aggressive from the Cavs, and good play. This is a 7-inning game. There is no tomorrow. This is all about getting a win, a crucial win for either side first up. The go-ahead runner now at second base with no outs. Big opportunity here for the Cavs.
Yep. So Rodera. Hit on the count 2 this time. Gets swinging. Foul ball. That will go down as a strike. 1-1 will be the count. And what they'll be wanting to do here, even a fly ball. Try and advance the runner from second to third. Last thing too is want any pitches to get away from the catcher, to get away from Lyle Lynn. Nothing into the dirt. Nothing too wayward. Good good comeback pitch. Doesn't get called a strike. Oh, wow, I'd like to have another look at that one.
Lynn wanted it, didn't get it. They're just having a little conversation now. Home plate umpire.
Let's just have a look at that again. Oh, yeah, no. Well, again, it's interesting. What's the distance between the catcher and the end of that plate? Because there is still movement, isn't there?
It's where it crosses the plate, not where it ends up in the glove.
Again, goes again with an off-speed pitch. Now suddenly finds himself well and truly behind on the count. 3 balls, 1 strike. Chance here for the Canberra Cavalry to get runners on first and second. No outs, top of the third. So Murata. Big pitch. Does he swing at it? Lynn looking to pass with it. Get some speed on that. Foul ball away. We'll go to a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. This time, off-speed pitch outside. So, suddenly runners on first and second, no outs. So, really good start to the top of the third here for the Canberra Cavalry. And it will bring up the very experienced Cam Warner. And then the big man, Boss Moanaroa.
And now action definitely starting to take place in the Tuatara bullpen with 2 catchers actually up to go to work at the moment.
Best case scenario here, gentlemen. So we've got runners on first and second. Opportunities here. What would the Tuatara need to... Just wait for the first pitch here. Looking to try and bunt. He does manage to bunt too. They'll advance the runners to second and third. Really nice job being done there by Cam Warner. And I guess Cam Warner does the job asked of him. The question I was actually going to ask is how do you force the double play with runners on first and second in a situation?
Keith Ward called that one pretty well. He made sure that play, I mean, the perfect bunt down the third baseline, the only play was at first base with that runner getting a good jump.
Just seeing who's warming up. Looks like Oscar Nakaoshi and Connor Gleeson in the pen for the Tuatara. They come in and play shallow and on the grass. Jason Matthews at third base, Rodriguez at short.
So Boss Moanaroa
was intentionally walked.
So they've just walked them, so an intentional walk, so suddenly the bases are loaded.
Brings a double play.
We haven't seen that in a Tuatara game. I'm not sure we have. I'm not sure I've called a deliberate walk. In these days, you don't have to throw the 4 pitches. It's just, there you go, son. Take first base, which now means that Cam Perkins comes up there, catcher. Boy, what a batting lineup. So runners on first, second and third. Now, Warner.
Yeah, nowhere to
Cam
put.
Perkins, so...
Veteran Perkins, who is a very good hitter.
Really just need... Keeps him swinging at that first pitch.
So obviously Murata's looking for something here. Weakly hit to the infield. And try and roll 2 and get out of it. Perkins looking just to get the ball out of the infield.
Yeah, Perkins just looking to try and even a fly ball this time outside. So 1-1 now the count. Just got to be careful it doesn't get away from Lyle Lynn. It's one area where Lynn is very good, and I don't want to bring the commentator's curse in, but very good in getting in front of those sort of wilder pitches.
He is a very good defensive catcher.
This time, straight down Broadway. Great comeback pitch from Murata.
I think Keith Ward would be happy for Perkins right now, even to put one deep, high and deep.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Any way to get the scoreboard ticking over in your favour, they will take it any way they can get it.
And you get some swinging on that, and that will be a fly ball to centre field. And now the runner looks to try and come home. The throw comes in, and it will be the Cavalry who will take the lead by 1-0. The other runners advance to, well, second base advances to third base. Runner Boss Moanaroa is anchored still on first. So job done for the Canberra Cavalry at the top of the third.
Yeah, nicely done. Good piece of hitting there from a very good hitter. And that's not what the Tuatara were hoping for. They were looking for a ground ball. Instead, Perkins just blocks it into centre field. Didn't get a lot on it, but enough to get it deep enough to score the runner from third. McKenzie's fast, so he's going to have to be pretty shallow to keep him on third base. Cavs take the early lead.
A hitter of that quality going into a bat like that was required. That's just bread and butter.
Well, Tillman Pugh, again, another one who'll be looking to try and just get a ball into play here. Put the pressure on the Tuatara infield. Fly ball won't be enough. That'll bring the third out, and we will go to the bottom of the third. But Toru Marata, just maybe for a straight strikeout here. Does he go? Does he do? Oh, little off-speed pitch to start. Foul ball away. Another souvenir for a fan. Do get yourself along. Game 3 or Game 4 of the series, 3 o'clock this afternoon. It'll be on the pop-up channel on Sky if you're currently watching on Sky Sport 1. Do come along. Of course, we do have the Makita race. I'm not sure how you describe that, but part of the entertainment. Chance to pick up a leaf blower. Oh, inside. So good patient at bat here from Tillman Pugh the third.
I think a good pitch there too by Marata. Tillman does hug the plate a wee bit. You can see him, he's getting close, and Marata just moving him back a bit.
Gets him going. Foul ball away. We'll go to 1 ball, 2 strikes. So advantage goes the way of Toru Marata. But runners on the corner, runners on first and third. Gets him swinging. Another foul ball away. So seeing the ball well is Tillman Pugh. Just can't quite get enough on it. So plenty of action in the Tuatara bullpen at the moment. Going through their protocols in case they are asked to come out and change it up a little bit here for the Tuatara offence. He gets some bat on that. That is a big, long, high fly ball. Is that out of here? That is going to split the gap. That is a home run. And that is brilliant from Tillman Pugh. The second, because now the Tuatara will find themselves trailing by 4 runs to 1. Runners on first and third. And then the home run out to centre field from Tillman Pugh the third. And really all Matt Feinstein could do is sit back, wait and watch. And advantage the way of the Cavalry.
Lovely piece of hitting from Tillman Pugh the third. He's a dangerous hitter. Made good contact in his first at bat. And then just took Marata to deep right centre. Not much breeze to assist that. That was just a well-hit ball. Barreled it up, put a charge into it and sent it over the right field fence.
And this should bring the inning to a close, but the damage has been done as we hit to the bottom of the third. The third out comes, but it is the Canberra Cavalry who lead by 4 runs to 1. And now, the Tuatara batting needs to step up. You can sit here, we can argue all we want about pitching and stuff, but it is the Tuatara batting that now needs to step up and show why they've been brought here, why they're part of this Tuatara lineup. Enough is enough. Pressure now goes on the offence.
I think some of you guys probably do too. Who's ready to get up on their wing and dance with some donuts?
Now the entertainment here at Tuatara Park will continue. Dale Budge's favourite song, but ringing around North Harbour Stadium, the Spice Girls.
I think they're giving out donuts.
That's what I'm saying, Dale. What's your favourite song, big guy?
Ethan Wood in charge of that area.
Does a great job, Ethan Wood. entertainment MC. It's fantastic. But the best form of entertainment is winning. It is the Canberra Cavalry at the moment who find themselves leading this by 4 runs to nothing.
Young Ethan loves bringing the fun and he's good at it.
So Nick Bowser still on the mound for the Canberra Cavalry.
Okay, now batting for Tuatara, Mr. Jack Barry.
So Kangaroo Jack Barry, playing right field today. It's a big man. Can he rally the troops here? Has a look at the first pitch. Strike all day. This time low. 1-1 the count. Ball called. Good consistent home plate umpiring from Nick Pearson. It's been consistent in that area of the strike zone. Bowser again just throws heat all day, doesn't he? Doesn't bring a lot in terms of the curveball or the change-up slider.
Ironically with that though, when he has bought that today, he's managed to produce groundouts.
I get some swinging this time. Big Kangaroo Jack was probably there for the swing. 3-2 the count, had a free swing, being ahead on the count. Now comes that intriguing time for the batter and the pitcher, the game of cat and mouse. And get some swinging. And it should be a comfortable ground out to shortstop. Nice little basic 6-3 play. And it is. So shortstop today for the Canberra Cavalry, Jake McKenzie. Goes straight across the first baseman, lost my one awry.
Bit of a low throw in there by Jake McKenzie, but well picked by Boss.
Now Wyatt Hoffman had a very good home run Saturday night a week ago. Sent North Harbour Stadium into raptures. In fact, it's not Hoffman. It'll be a fly ball. Does this drop? Catch is taken. And so comfortably taken in the finish in left field.
All right, next
by Tillman Pugh the third.
All the way from Baltimore Orioles, Greg Cullen.
As we know, Cullen's on debut today for the Tuatara.
Yeah, he'll want to try and orchestrate something here. 2 outs though, it gets tough. Has a look at that first pitch, big swing, foul ball away. And he'll be adjusting to, I'd imagine, a setup that, you know, let's be honest, these Australian baseball franchises are limited budget-wise. Don't quite have the resource that the major league clubs have, so it is a bit of a, got to have a little bit of a Shelby Wright attitude coming here. You can't be overly precious, and by all accounts, Greg Cullen has been simply superb to deal with, showing his professionalism. Let's look at another pitch, another ball called, so 2 balls, 1 strike.
And you know, success here is certainly going to push him more to making that 40-man, initial 40-man roster for the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, really good swing too. That's outside, 3 balls, 1 strike.
Good to see real consistency again there from Matt Pearson. You know, he's held this zone all the way through for both teams.
Yeah, and it's a grey area at times, isn't it? Another pitcher might, another home plate umpire might say, hey, that's part of my strike zone and call that, but he's been very, very good. And that's all we want is consistency. So both the catcher, the pitcher, and then the reconnaissance that's then shared, everyone understands.
It's always funny hearing people talking about their strike zone, but let's talk reality. There is a strike zone.
And that time does Walkham, so gets himself on base. So that's good from Greg Cullen. Means Caber Rodriguez, Jack Biggers to come. So it'll be Caber Rodriguez into the batting box. Jack Biggers on deck.
Our favourite, Caber Rodriguez.
We saw it as first at bat. Caber Rodriguez latched on, very good contact to the first pitch he faced, caught deep out in centre field.
Caber Rodriguez, yeah, by his own high standards though, he is very much in a bit of a form slump. He's got to find something here. He gets some bat on that. That looks to try and go long, but the catch will be comfortably taken in centre field by Cole Rodera. And just like that, it is 3 up, 3 down as we head to the top of the fourth. It is the Canberra Cavalry leading the Tuatara by 4 runs to nothing.
New Balance. We got now.
Make Marsden Hotels and Resorts your first choice for business and leisure travel in New Zealand. Whether it's big city comfort and style or the perfect place to base your Kiwi adventure, watching a sunset at Castaways Resort or exploring the wonders of Queenstown, we welcome you to make every stay one to remember. Visit marsdenhotels.co.nz online for details and locations. Wake up wonderful in hotels across New Zealand with Marsden Hotels and Resorts.
Again?
Rule the outdoors with Makita's cordless power tools and equipment. Makita's LXT range of cordless tools take you from the job site to the backyard. Use Makita's cordless products anytime, anywhere. Now get 2 extra free batteries via redemption.
North Harbour is the stadium. It is game 3 of a 4-game series. First 2 games rained out. It is the home team, the Auckland Tuatara, taking on their arch rival, the Canberra Cavalry. Big series for both teams. Both teams trying to pick up one of those playoff berths. Currently is the Tuatara, who sits second in the Northeastern Division. And it is the Canberra Cavalry who sit third, but not too many games back. So key series for both. There has been a change on the mound for the Tuatara. Toru Marata has pitched through 3 innings. He has now been replaced by another Japanese player who also has Brazilian heritage, Oscar Nakaoshi.
Number 39, Oscar, a left-hander. Showing signs of some really good stuff.
Big swing here and looking to go along. Catch is taken though brilliantly in centre field by Matt Feinstein. And Mitchell Edwards is the player that finds himself back in the dugout, playing DH today.
Number 14 is Michael Campbell.
So Michael Campbell into bat now. So batting 9-hole, playing in right field. Has a look at the first pitch, strike called, so good start for Oscar Nakayoshi. He'll be wanting to try and get this inning done quickly and then bring the Tuatara top order back to the plate. Nice off-speed pitch, lovely little curveball. But Nick Pearson, the home plate umpire, looked at it hard too and said, no, 1 ball, 1 strike. Throws the curveball this time and does get the strike, so automatically we see Nakayoshi very, very good with his off-speed pitching.
Great, absolutely great adjustment by Nakayoshi there.
Tries it again, another foul ball away.
Yeah, look, with his adjustment, what I meant by that, he was called just a wee bit high on his first curveball, brought it down just that half ball. For the next pitch, got called strike.
Yeah, hard pitch to control, isn't it? It's the one that they all work on. It's all very well practicing it and training. It's something that's difficult to bring, but that's why they're standing on the mound and others aren't. This time gets him swinging and forces the swing, and somewhat of a lazy swing from Michael Campbell. And so 2 up, 2 down, but we go back to the top of the order. Jake McKenzie. We've already seen McKenzie with a single today to right field to get himself on base. Not afraid to swing early, this man.
No, and we're going from 9 to 1, but we're seeing no loss of ability here.
No, throws the curveball, gets the strike, so great control from Nakayoshi again. So what we say by that, it starts out at 12 o'clock and the ball dips to 6. Now what does he look to come back with? Again, more of a slider. Gets it again, so slightly different off-speed pitch, but has the same effect. So can he get McKenzie swinging again? Oh, tries to paint the outside corner, not given. So 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That one just went again slightly higher than the last one, and had some solid consistency there by Pearson, our umpire behind the plate.
Gets him. Again, Pearson had a look at that, just outside of a strike zone, just a little higher again. It's been a big shift in the United States to bring the strike zone down. Starting to see the umpires in this part of the world following suit. Gets him swinging, another off-speed pitch. Count goes full count now. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Matt Pearson's actually an Australian-based umpire with Josh Reschler from New Zealand on first base today, and Warren Van Ruin, our chief umpire here in New Zealand, on third.
Yeah, I've got to say the umpiring's been excellent. Really good to see the standard of New Zealand umpiring just getting better and better year to year. Another swing at that. That's another foul ball. Count will stay the same. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's been very good. I mean, we've had nothing but good things to say, especially last week we saw in the Giants series. Just really good consistency, and that's really what you want. Understanding of the strike zone and consistency.
And another foul ball down the left field line, so a good at-bat here coming from Jake McKenzie, their shortstop. And there is a look there at Josh Reschler, New Zealand umpire. I've got to admire Reschler too. He hasn't been afraid to make some tough calls, has he? He's made some sort of what I guess at the time had been somewhat controversial, only to be absolutely vindicated in his decision. We had a balk last week, which is something you don't often see in baseball. And now he walks Jake McKenzie, Nakayoshi. So McKenzie will be now looking to try and manufacture something here. It'll bring Cam Warner, in fact Cole Roederer will come into the batting box.
And we've seen they've been very aggressive when they've put runners on base. They've looked to move across reasonably quickly. That might slow down a bit now, dependent on this 4-run lead.
Not a bad little crowd in too here on the left side of us. I'll get some swinging, foul ball away. Count will immediately go to no ball, 1 strike. First 2 foul balls do go down as strikes. For those that are not familiar with the sport of baseball, we just do clarify that we are clearly trying to build the sport here in New Zealand, so I know we have those pure baseball aficionados that maybe don't always understand why we're breaking things down, but it's just trying to build the audience beyond its niche. And this time outside, so 1-1 the count.
And it's also one of the reasons we go to the 7 innings game here in New Zealand, sort of for the baseball purist, a 9 innings game with only one run is just the game everybody wants. But when you're new to a game, it can get a bit long, a bit drawn out.
Yeah, it can. And so interesting here just to have a look at Lyle Lynn. Another high pitch, 2 balls, 1 strike. So good start from Nakayoshi. Now just starting to just maybe lose his way a little bit. Maybe just needs to go back to his default settings. He's not going to throw high heat, Nakayoshi. A lot of off-speed pitches in his repertoire. This time he goes. And now they look to try and pick the runner at second. It's a long throw. It'll hold him on second. So it is Jake McKenzie who finds himself on second base. A little bit of a wayward throw from Ryle Lynn as we have a look at the replay here. Kevin Rodriguez looks to come across, but was never in the glove. And Matt Feinstein having to do the work in centre field to tidy up a little bit of a wayward throw from Lyle Lynn. But that's the pressure of baseball. You've got to split second. You're in that crouching position and you've got to suddenly try and change the body mechanics and throw with some velocity, often over your pitcher's head. And so now it is hits him, paints the outside corner. Nice pitch from Nakayoshi. This time gets the strike from Pearson. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
We're looking to just get that ground ball out now, bring the Tuatara back in, and I think we can talk about the game as much as we like, but unless we see some real offensive flair in the next couple of innings.
Well, the game's gone, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm not sure that there's that air of confidence around North Harbour that that's going to happen because it just hasn't happened for so long now. Oh, tough pitch. Now, a bit of a conversation between Lyle Lynn and the home plate umpire. We might just have another look at this pitch here. Because suddenly runners now on first and second.
All right, here is number 4.
That's a tough one. That's sort of right on that lip where Pearson's been very consistent at that height. That's one of those 50-50 calls.
So, coming out to have a chat to Nakayoshi on the mound. I don't think they'll panic just at the moment with the 2 outs. But they getting frustrated. It's been one of the big discussion points with manager Steve Mintz. Too many hitters, too many batters getting walked. Too many lead-off hitters getting themselves on base. You know, you can talk all you want about it, but at some point the players have to take responsibility. They've got to make that adjustment.
And look, clearly just how are we feeling? Let's get back into our rhythm here sort of speech, because with no real movement in the Tuatara bullpen at the moment, that was not going to be a change made.
Yeah, don't be afraid to use your infield. Don't be afraid to rely on the likes of Jason Matthews at third or Clayton Campbell at first, Wyatt Hoffman at second.
Look, defensively, outside a couple of series, the Tuatara have been extremely strong.
This time, another pitch into the dirt, another ball.
It's heading back to that same old thing about the offense. You know, we started the first 4 to 5 series really strong, some good stuff. Just the last few weeks, it just hasn't been there.
Oh, look, we can blame weather and we can blame lack of consistency, game time, not ideal training facilities due to the weather. But it is, and now that is another big long ball, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a very good catch being taken in left field by Jack Speakers, which will bring the innings to a close. But for just a brief moment then we thought, oh no, here we go again. Runners on first and second, another home run, and that certainly would have taken it right out of the Tuatara. Not sure they would have come back from that, but good, patient piece of play from Bigger. He's outstanding in the outfield, Mr. Consistency.
But what we have seen today, haven't we, is a lot of the Cav hitters putting it out deep, getting caught deep out there towards the fence. We've only seen that on a couple of occasions.
Well, I guess that's the difference from what we're seeing with this Tuatara team 2 years on after COVID, for what we saw in that 2019-2020 season, where we just had players hitting home runs. Didn't we? Had Kim out of Korea. Yeah, it just hasn't happened. You know, we manufacture runs and we through singles and through hitting, but we just haven't had guys who have been able to step up and put them over the teal monster or put them over the outfield.
We heard Dale Budge speak about it earlier today, where it's not a lack of actual reasonable contact off the bat. Some of these Tuatara guys are getting reasonable contact. We're just hitting it to the field. We're not finding the gaps.
Let's go.
Ethan Wood right in his environment right there.
Yeah, well, I think he's organising somebody for the Makita run, where they're going to get 2 people out of the crowd and they start on. One has to basically circumnavigate the diamond here, and one will start up the left field line, one will start up the right field line, and a bit like what you see in the individual pursuit at the Olympic Games. Certainly provides some great entertainment. But interesting that Nick Belzer still on the mound for Canberra Cavalry.
I think that was the worst thing you said last week, Bono, was that myself and Dale Budge doing that run. Certainly be like a Clydesdale over the racehorse, mate.
Well, it would have made for some wonderful entertainment, but we'd probably still be here calling it. So now, stepping up for the Tuatara, really needing to try and manufacture something here, get something going. Pitch is outside, ball will be called, but it will be Jack Spiggers. And he gets some bat on that, and that should just a comfortably fly ball taken out there in right field. Catch is taken. Michael Campbell doing the work, so 1 up, 1 down. More efficiency being shown by Nick Belzer.
Again, we mentioned not through lack of contact, just straight to the field. We're not doing anything.
Right, let's go, Clayton Campbell. Here you go.
Strike call. 0-1 the count. He gets some bat on that, and that will be a repeat dose. Campbell again, taking another fly ball, 2 up, 2 down. Great economy again from Belzer. So almost lazy at bats at the moment from the Tuatara.
Coach of the Tuatara basketball team. He's just in the house. He's just arrived with his mum. There he is. He's looking around all awkward. Give him a shout out, Ethan.
Hello, Aaron. Let's go, Aaron.
And now Lyle Lynn comes into the box. Catcher for the Tuatara. Has a look at the first pitch. Strike from Belzer. We can sort of talk all we want again about Tuatara hitting, but Belzer's been very good.
Very economical.
Yep, and he just really just doesn't throw a lot of off speed. At time, that is going to be a catch taken out in left field by Tillman Pugh III, who hit a home run earlier for the Canberra Cavalry. And so just like that, 3 up, 3 down. Great economy from Nick Belzer. So as we head to the top of the 5th, it is the Canberra Cavalry leading the Tuatara by 4 runs to nothing.
Again? Rule the outdoors with Makita's cordless power tools and equipment. Makita's LXT range of cordless tools take you from the job site to the backyard. Use Makita's cordless products anytime, anywhere. Now get 2 extra free batteries via redemption.
It's always a good day when you're eating pizza, especially for breakfast. As you can see, I'm enjoying a nice garlic knot right now, so could be worse. The dough, flipping it up, trying to catch it, that would for sure be the hardest part. I tried to make a peace sign, didn't quite work out. Emerson here made a nice smiley face.
Turned into a mad face.
I went with the Bronx. I mean, that just stuck out to me. Yankees, the Bronx. I mean, you can never go wrong with Italian sausage and capsicum, or peppers, however you want to say it. It's simple, but yet delicious.
Probably like a Brooklyn seating, maybe, with sausages and pepperonis. Let's see what happens in a little.
Oh yeah, you could definitely chuck these around. I mean, you could chuck them out to the fans. Would be a great little promotion there. So, Regan, just hint, hint.
Well, it's a miracle in Auckland. There's something blue in the sky and there's something yellow and round in the sky as well, and we're just trying to figure out what it is. We understand it's a thing called blue sky, and we understand it's a thing called the sun. Whatever it is, it's good news for the Tuatara because we're actually back in action. We're actually playing some baseball. This is game 3 of a 4-game series. The first 2 games rained out yesterday, but not such good news in game 3 because the Tuatara are trailing their arch rival, the Canberra Cavalry, by 4 runs to nothing. Now, it's not Andrew Mark on the mound for the Tuatara because there has been a change in pitching. It is Ji Young Chang, a right-handed pitcher, another one of these players that is relatively new to the Tuatara lineup. Mr. Baseball Dale Budge will provide a bit more background on this young man.
Yeah, lefty out of the Seattle Mariners organisation this year, or 2022, excuse me, and known reasonably well to the coaching group. Robbie Price has coached against him this season. Looking to see what he brings, kind of repertoire he brings to the equation. We haven't seen a pitch in the flesh as yet. Another one of the Taiwanese players, known as Danny in his anglicised version of his name. So Danny to all the guys. Ji Young Chang says.
Big boss Moana Roa will be at the plate. The big boy with the New Zealand heritage who has played for the New Zealand men's baseball team. Have a look at that first pitch, and really good first up pitch coming from Chang.
Boy, boss unloaded on that. Big swing and a miss. See the power from the left-handed slugger. He has been a great player in this ABL, rebooted ABL. Played a long time with the Sydney Blue Sox as well.
Has a look at that pitch, and that paints the outside corner as well. Good start here. But they just do not want to get another lead-off batter on base. It's been a real frustration over the last 3 series for the Tuatara. Just need to get these players up. Throws a change-up. Comes up slightly short, but having a look there at Chang's curveball.
Yet again, unfortunately, the hallmark of this game, as it has been in the recent series that the Tuatara have struggled in, having hitters in 0-2 counts and then walking them, giving them free passes. This Cavs lineup is far too powerful. There is too much offense in them to be giving free passes when you've got the foot on the throat.
No. Asked to see whether he got the swing or not. No.
He's called him out.
Oh, he called him out, did he?
Yeah, one of them, Royan.
Boss Moana Roa not happy. We'll have a look at the replay here. So it's showing whether there's genuine intent in the swing here from Boss Moana Roa. Now, Van Rooyen is not... Wow.
It's nearly a strike, just by location. Maybe just dropped out of it.
Now, Boss Moana Roa maintained his discipline there. Decided just to accept the decision, though he wasn't happy. And now the curveball comes. It is high, outside.
He's a pro. Moana Roa's been around a long time. Has good attitude, good approach to the game.
Now
you win some, you lose some, Mark. In anything, you get some calls go your way at times too. You get some that don't go your way.
And I say that it all comes out in the wash, and you can sit here and go, oh, biased, but we've got an Australian umpire here. We've got 2 New Zealand umpires. Tuatara travel. It's predominantly Australian umpires. And look, the standard, to be fair, has been excellent, whether we're playing on that side of the ditch, whether they're playing here, to be fair. And fastball straight down Broadway, good pitch.
And you've got to learn very quickly just to not stress over what you can't control.
Yeah. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. Really do just need to get on top of this Cavalry batting lineup again. Being too many runners on base.
I mean, top of the 5th situation here, I think, with the Tuatara. Mincy will probably hold back.
Oh, gets him going, swings. Looking to try and come around and take the catch. It's big Jack Barry does take the catch. Had a lot of work to do. Really good catch taken by Kangaroo Jack. We love Kangaroo Jack. I was in a restaurant the other day. They offered me kangaroo steaks. I said, no, I like Jack.
Yeah, it's not easy out there
to
hold up too in foul territory down the right field line. There's a bit of moisture there. It's not as easy to put on the brakes as you think. So yeah, just talk about the use of the bullpen here. I think Mincy will see this at a 4-run deficit. Probably not go to Blanchard and Walter, the 2 key arms in his bullpen, unless the Tuatara offence can start getting the job done. This is keep them in, fresh and available for maybe a closer game potentially in the second one.
Well, at the plate now, a man who's already hit a home run today, Tillman Pugh the third.
I'm not saying you give up on the result. You charge your offence to get yourself back into the game here, and that'll be the challenge. If you're going to win this game, you're going to have to score 4+ runs, 5 runs to win it. So bank on your offence doing the job and maybe hold some pitching back for a second game potentially.
And let's be honest, we've seen small plays that turn into big plays affect the change of a game, and that play there, the commitment by Jack Barry in right field to take that catch, that could be a turning point. You want it to see that be the turning point.
He gets some bat on that. He's got a big swing, hasn't he, Tillman Pugh? I saw a 3-run home run earlier, which just took this game well and truly in their favour. Another free souvenir for somebody. If you are coming to North Harbour Stadium, sit down the right field line if you've got young kids.
Just make sure you keep your eye on the ball at all times.
Absolutely. So, can he go back-to-back home runs? Tillman Pugh. He gets some bat on that. That is a big line drive and we're to left field. Good effort there from Cable Rodriguez at shortstop, but it is another runner on base and showing his class.
Boy,
very quality player, Tillman Pugh.
He's having a day, isn't he? Tillman, 2 for 3, and the out that he recorded was only a handful of feet shy of going out. So,
which will now bring to the plate for the Canberra liner will be Chris Quincer. Doesn't get any easier.
Chang will like the lefty-lefty matchup here a little bit more though.
This time outside. Challenging series, challenging season so far for Steve Mintz and Darren Bragg and the coaching staff. And he looks to try and pick the runner off at first and just sends a little bit of a warning to Tillman Pugh at first base. I am the left-handed pitcher. I don't have to go over my shoulder to throw.
He looks very athletic.
And get some bat on that. That is a high ball. That is a fly ball. And that should be comfortably taken. It is. This time in centre field by Matt Feinstein. And just like that, the top of the 5th comes to the close. It's still the Canberra Cavalry who lead by 4 runs to nothing. Now, the Tuatara need to conjure something up. It's almost now or never. Just 3 more at-bats remain. 3 more innings remain. How many at-bats that means? Well, it comes down to the bottom of the 5th. There is Darren Bragg, a grey-headed figure, no hat on. Wonderful, almost 1,000 games as a major league player himself, the batting coach.
And just watching him there as the players came into the dugout, just really grabbing their hands, shaking their hands, sort of looking for that energy that we need right now offensively.
There's a little bit of activity going on in the Cavalry bullpen. Bells has been absolutely terrific for them so far in this game.
Oh, we ain't got a little sing on, a little karaoke here in the box. You know how it is, Sometimes you've got to take your mind off things.
You sure do. All right, team, let's get up on our feet and make some noise.
Where it began, I can't begin to know, but that I know it's growing strong.
I guess the other criticism you could say, and this comes back to the lack of offensive power from the Tuatara, but too often the starting pitchers, we've seen them go 5 innings, haven't we? We saw it with Adelaide here. We saw it away when we were in Sydney. Okay, we're just having a problem, a technical problem. We'll take a break here from Tuatara Park. Back live at Tuatara Park. Bottom of the 5th inning. 1 out so far, Matt Feinstein. Ground out to second base. Jason Matthews now on deck as the Tuatara trail by 4 runs to nothing against the Canberra Cavalry. 7-inning game, so there will be 2 further inning opportunities for the Tuatara to try and close this gap. Equally, 2 further inning for the Canberra Cavalry to try and extend that lead. And he gets plenty of bat on that, but that is a foul down the right field line. Got one of New Zealand's leading and most experienced managers alongside of us, bringing you the expert comments. Mark Irwin. And Mark, this game getting close to starting to get away from this Tuatara team, and
we're just not showing.
We're just not getting the bat swinging, are we? We're just not getting any sort of economy at all out of them.
No, and I think there's an air of confidence or lack of it from the Tuatara fans that sort of they've got the ability right now to bring this game back. You know, and as Dale Budge spoke about earlier today, winning this game, the first game of the 2 today, would be key.
Yeah, another foul ball away for Jason Matthews. Somebody's got to spark it. Somebody's got to just take this game. Got to get some runners, some ducks on the pond, get some runners on bases, and then look to just hit one long, bring a home run, bring the place alive. Do it in style, and home run hitting has been a really big issue for this Tuatara team, and even just trying to manufacture it in 1s and 2s.
Right now, just some base runners would be nice, putting people into scoring position. We're not even sort of getting to that point at the moment.
Now he gets plenty on that. That's looking to go long. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is out of the park. Fantastic from Jason Matthews. We talked about somebody needing to try and rally the troops, and Matthews this time takes Nick Belzer deep into centre field. And North Harbour stands, one of their own, hits a home run. And suddenly, it is the Tuatara on the board. It is the Canberra Cavalry leading by 4 runs to 1.
It went a long way over the sort of left centre fence there. Probably a good 30, 35 feet over the fence. And you could actually see Jason being a bit more aggressive at the start of that at bat. Just looking to try and get some momentum going.
And maybe just starting to see a little bit of movement now in the Canberra bullpen. as we see big Jack Barry step up, Kangaroo Jack. Now he has the ability to go long too. First pitch is a strike, so Barry has a look. Wouldn't it be great if we could see players go back to back? It's the commentator's curse working the other way this week. We've talked about the lack of home run hitting, and bang, just like that, Jason Matthews. Well, Kangaroo Jack has a look at that one high. That is that area where Pearson, the home plate umpire, has been excellent. Anything just on the inside slightly high has been called a ball. We'll get some swinging this time. Drew him in.
Big cut there by Kangaroo Jack.
Got to now just get himself on base here. Be patient if he has to. He doesn't need to put it out of the park. That's his reputation. Now they go to him. He gets some bat on that. Foul ball down the left field line. Now 2-2 the count, so good at bat here from Barry. He'll just be waiting. Took a very, very good catch out there in right field earlier. A lot of work to do in slippery conditions. There's another look at this one. Well and truly outside, so now the pressure goes on Belzer.
It's something we haven't seen from Belzer today. He's been quite consistent, getting the ball in there, creating the ground balls, getting the pop-ups. First time we've really seen him sort of get to that 0-2.
And that's what pressure does. That can momentum shifts. Get some swinging though. Probably a lazy swing from Barry. I'm not sure he needed to swing at that one. He finds himself back in the dugout. Tuatara
Next batter,
will
number
have
6,
their second out.
Look, if truth be known, he should have been walking to first base.
Yep.
Didn't need to swing at that pitch.
Yeah, that's the frustration, isn't it? And now Wyatt Hoffman, who had a brilliant home run last week, son of the great Trevor Hoffman in the Baseball Hall of Fame in the United States, out of the San Diego Padres. His parents watching this. Kia ora from New Zealand. Your son's a quality young man. He's been a credit to the club, credit to you. Has a look at that. Another low ball, good at bat from Hoffman. Well, Tuatara have pulled back one, so it's a 3-run deficit. Can Hoffman bring it to 2? Has a big swing at a pitch that he had to swing at. It was a strike all day, so 2 balls, 1 strike. A lot of velocity being gained, shown by Nick Belzer. He doesn't certainly look like he's slowed down at all.
No, but he's been very economical through
Hasn't
the
he?
first 5 innings. So, he hasn't used a lot of his arm.
This time on the inside, so another ball. Now Hoffman, 3 balls, 1 strike. He'll know that Belzer is predominantly a speed-based pitcher. Does he go to a off-speed pitch here, Belzer? No, he doesn't. Go straight down Broadway. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
2 outs now. If we can look to put Hoffman on bag here, we're moving to the top of our order again. Cullen, Rodriguez, Biggers called you up after Hoffman.
Yeah, big shout out to Chris Coleman too, broadcaster out of Canberra. And gets the walk this time, so Hoffman will find himself on first base. And the good news is the Tuatara will go back to the top of their lineup with Greg Cullen, Kayla Rodriguez and Jack Biggers to come. 2 outs though. And Greg Cullen, can he be struck out once, walked once? Out of the Baltimore Orioles, a new recruit for this Tuatara team.
Next batter, Auckland Tuatara, Greg Cullen, number 69.
Wearing number 69 is Greg Cullen. Get some bat on that, foul ball away. Immediately will be a strike. Do encourage people to get yourself along for game 4 of the series, which is 3 o'clock this afternoon. Double header today, of course. And Sky Sport 1, those watching it currently at home, you'll need to go to the pop-up channel on Sky if you want to watch that game. And we welcome everybody in across the ABL platform. And to those fans up in Taiwan, looking to try and pick the runner-up off at first. Good work there from Balsa. Just letting little Wyatt Hoffman know. I shouldn't say little, young Wyatt Hoffman. I've given him the name the Babyface Assassin. He doesn't really have a baby face, does he? But he needed a nickname.
He is young looking.
He is young
when
looking,
you pass him,
isn't
yeah, I gave him a high five after his home run the other week, and he's very young in the face.
Yeah. Look to go again.
Sort of where I'd like to be, unfortunately not.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done there, mate.
A lot of work.
Let's just have a look here. Pretty close. Tag that player. And it's outside now. He looks to try and steal. He'll be picked off at second. Oh, he's safe, in fact. So, really should have picked him off at second. It's not great play from the second baseman, Cam Warner. Let's just have a look here. The throw looked like a good throw, a little wide. And we've been tough here on Cam Warner. We really should have got him. Warner should have got him. Should have done better. Safe for Wyatt Hoffman. Great base running from the young American.
Yeah, should have had him cold again just as he swept across to make the tag. The ball's come away from the glove there.
Well, running now in scoring position, count as 1-1. A stand-up double will be enough to bring the runner home. Get some bat on that. That is a foul ball. No, in fact, it's just a comfortable fly ball to left field. And the catch is comfortably taken by Tillman Pugh out there in left field. And as we head to the top of the 6th, 1 run for the Tuatara in that inning. It is the Canberra Cavalry who lead the Tuatara by 4 runs to 1.
New Balance. We got now.
Make Marsden Hotels and Resorts your first choice for business and leisure travel in New Zealand. Whether it's big city comfort and style or the perfect place to base your Kiwi adventure, watching a sunset at Castaways Resort or exploring the wonders of Queenstown, we welcome you to make every stay one to remember. Visit marsdenhotels.co.nz online for details and locations. Wake up wonderful in hotels across New Zealand with Marsden Hotels and Resorts.
Again? Rule the outdoors with Makita's cordless power tools and equipment. Makita's LXT range of cordless tools take you from the job site to the backyard. Use Makita's cordless products anytime, anywhere. Now get 2 extra free batteries via redemption.
Tuatara Park, North Harbour Stadium, top of the 6th. Tuatara trailing the Canberra Cavalry by 4 runs to 1. And immediately it is a brilliant catch taken once again by Jack Biggers down the left field line. And that will bring Mitchell Edwards at bat to a close, which means that Michael Campbell will be up next in right field.
Great contact there by Edwards. That was a well-hit low-line drive, but well caught. Good baseball.
The big has been good, though, hasn't he? He's been good. He's looked really composed out there in left field. He's been brilliant coming in for Murata. Or Murata not in the lineup today. No, Shida, I should say, is the Japanese player who has been playing out there in left field for much of the season. Murata, of course, pitching earlier today, the starting pitcher. On the mound now for the Tuatara is Ji Young Chang out of Taiwan, wearing the shirt of the great Andrew Mark, Pinky Mark. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. I want to get this inning closed. I want to just get the job done here. They do get some bat on that. Should be comfortable single out there to right field. Just manages to sneak that between Clayton Campbell and second baseman
Okay, we're up to the top of the line.
Wyatt Hoffman.
Canberra Cavalry. Number 3, Jake McKenzie.
It's ultimately fielded in the finish by Jack Barry, so runner on base, 1 out. And that now means Jack McKenzie back at the top of the order for the Canberra Cavalry. But that has just been so often the difference, hasn't it? Just the travelling teams here have just managed to find real estate where the Tuatara hitters have found players or picked players out. If you have just joined us, a really good home run earlier from Jason Matthews for the Tuatara. South Auckland boy. And now Canberra Cavalry will be desperate to get Campbell to second. Ji Young Chang, being a left-handed pitcher, has the benefit of not having to look over his shoulder in terms of trying to pick the runner off. Good curveball, great pitch. 1-1 the count. Oh, gets McKenzie swinging. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They'd love to just put him away, wouldn't they? This is the situation where Dale talks about. You're ahead on the count as the pitcher too often. We've had the runners end up on base.
Forget about thumbing that ball in right now. Just get the job done.
Yeah, rely on your infield if you have to. Another ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You can see now that we've had a bit of sun and blue sky here in Auckland that the runners now are standing on the cutout a wee bit more, the base runners.
It'd be nice to see him throw a strike here, wouldn't it? Just get it into the strike zone. Just get the job done. And this time into the dirt, full count.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about pitching around good batters, talking around good hitters. I'm in belief that as a pitcher, believe in yourself, challenge them. Yeah. Go at it, go hard.
Go after them. I mean, one of the hardest things in baseball is to hit a round ball with a round bat. We know this is a game dominated by the ball. Go at them. Back yourself. Don't need more runners on base. This time does throw it. It's high though. We'll get a walk, and there we go. We go from a 1 ball, 2 strike count to suddenly a runner back on base. Dale Budge has talked about that a lot throughout the series, throughout the season here. Suddenly, 1 out, and now runners on first and second in scoring position.
It's frustrating because what we're not seeing, especially over the last couple of series, is a lot of these Tuatara pitchers really going out there and challenging the batters. You know, you get 2 strikes, just throw hard, try and create a ground ball or a pop-up, but don't fluff it across there and look to try and pitch around them.
Dale Budge back into the commentary, Mr. Baseball himself.
Yeah, it's been a source of frustration, hasn't it, the last few weeks? Just the little things, getting outplayed comfortably here. Canberra have been very impressive. They look desperate, don't they, the Cavs? They look like they are chomping at the bit to get out there.
Lovely pitch that time from the new man on the mound, in Chang. So 1-1 the count. Now, rely on your infield if you have to. Force the double play.
As much as we love the Tuatara, I mean, you've got to be realistic.
Well, they're not playing good baseball.
the early season form was good. The bats were swinging well, and they earned themselves right to really at a week out from Christmas, they were in odds-on position to make the playoffs and have a crack at the Claxton Shield. All of a sudden, the last couple of weeks, things have unravelled. They're not hitting, and now they're in a dogfight to try and make the playoffs.
It's time to get some swinging.
And they're in a dogfight right now with the other team that's in that dogfight who's coming out with a wee bit more bark right now.
100%, yeah. The Cavs look a different side to the one we saw at MIT Ballpark in week 2 back in November.
And I tell you what, if the Cavalry get away with this and end up winning the 2 games today, and it's about momentum at the right time of the year, you wouldn't rule this side out from going the whole way either. Given an opportunity, you know that very much at the moment it's the Adelaide Giants, it's Brisbane that
we are starting to see some of the chasing teams flex their muscles. Perth have started to look really good the last couple of weeks. Yeah, this side's certainly coming.
Sydney's a perfect example of that, isn't it?
Yeah, again, another walk. Bases loaded again.
He's coming out of the dugout, so
just not good enough from the Tuatara pitching. Just not good enough.
Put the last 2 on with walks. It's just at this level, it's not good enough.
Chang's day is done.
Connor Gleeson.
You can just look at the frustration too in the face of Steve Mintz. Frustrating season for him, weather, just a whole lot of little things. And I've got to say, he keeps a very calm demeanour. Now we will have Gleeson onto the mound.
And for those that don't understand, with the new pitcher coming in, we've got loaded bases. If those runs now come in, they are accredited to the pitcher that's just left the park, not to Gleeson, because it's a very tough ask as a pitcher to come out loaded bases at this level. Know you're up against a hitting side like the Cavs. Not easy.
No, tough job here for Connor Gleeson, who comes back onto the roster this week, had a week off it last week. So the risk of selling some state secrets here, the coaching staff are wanting to have a look at some of their options, and you've basically got to play in 3 series to qualify for the playoffs. So the players have been here for the majority of the season. They've already qualified. So what we saw last week was Gleeson come off, Connor Perry come onto the roster, Mincy have a look and just assess.
I'd be playing in the here and the now.
You've
got to get to the playoffs first.
Yeah, the problem is you're going to run out of players. There's not enough players qualified there. You've got to qualify players. And if you have just the same, the way this league works, some players have to go back to the Northern Hemisphere before the playoffs. It'll be the same issue that other teams strike. So assessing, getting guys qualified, it is a balancing act.
And we've talked about challenging. I've known Connor a long time now, and he's that sort of kid that'll go out there and challenge.
Well, so far he's pitched better with runners on than he's pitched at the start of an inning.
Yeah,
clean inning.
So what's the message here to Connor Gleeson? What, throw strikes? What's the message here?
Yeah, ground ball strikes. Just trying to do something on the ground.
Looking to create the ball and play, looking to get the outs.
We're all sort of searching for answers here, obviously, when things aren't going well. And I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, because at this level there should not be excuses. You should be able to get the job done. It has been a really frustrating period the last few weeks with the weather, not being able to be outdoors, not being able to go through the normal routine, see live hitters, see live pitching. And just the frustration of commuting around Auckland.
Being a fan, wanting to say the right thing, but let's be honest, you can see it. The fans are seeing it out there. You cannot hide the fact that we're just not producing the goods now.
No, and it's in all departments, if we're brutally honest. The pitching is not sharp enough, and the hitting has not been there. They're small improvements, like hitting the ball, but not hitting the ball into gaps, not hitting the ball with power.
So Connor Gleeson gets a swing. It'll be a foul ball immediately down the left field line.
Look, right now with only 1 away, the Cavs have got nothing to lose. This guy's gone in there with a green light. He just needs to put the ball in play. And the hard thing right now is knowing that when they've been putting the ball in play, they've been finding the gaps, finding that real estate.
So Cam Warner at bat looking to try to drive in. More runs. Bases are loaded. This time out wide. 1 strike, 1 ball. Again, gets away from him.
Nice.
Be careful. Nice there from the catcher for the Tuatara. In Lyle Lynn. Two balls, 1 strike. Really, really big pitch here. Gets him swinging. Foul ball down the left field line. Count remains the same. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now does he just go straight down Broadway here? He does, goes wide again though from Gleeson.
She's probably guilty of trying to overthrow that, just looking to throw that pitch a wee bit too hard, just lost his balance there at the back end of that pitch.
Big pitch this. Full count, nowhere to put him. Dangerous hitter.
Oh, that's just disappointing. That is just poor from the Tuatara. No way of summing it up. Not the fault of Gleeson, but just another run scores off another walk.
Okay, now batting, number 45.
That's Boss
1999.
Moanaroa.
Boss Moanaroa.
You know, they put Boss on base at his last at bat. They wanted to put him on to load the bases. Unfortunately, now the bases are loaded. There's no spare space for him. No, we've got no free bags out there. And one of the probably the most dangerous hitters in the ABL over the past few seasons.
He just goes out wide. They try and pick the runner up off at third, but manages to get back in time. Really good work again, though, from the Tuatara catcher in Lyle Lynn, just showing his athleticism.
Just to ensuring that his infield defensive players understand that he's going to make that snap. A wild throw down that line to where Biggers is standing at the moment would probably score 2 runs.
And another ball. Pitcher's just trying to maybe just be a little bit too clever. As talked about, present the opportunity, see what the hitters can do. This time, straight down Broadway. Good comeback pitch from Gleeson.
See, it makes you wonder too, because Dale spoke about seeing Connor warm up 2 or 3 innings ago, and then the bullpen went pretty quiet for a while. And that decision to remove Oscar was made pretty quickly. So again, you're wondering, did he get the opportunity to throw and sort of get that arm warm again?
3 balls, 1 strike.
Not looking for excuses, but I see down there now, it looks like Ben Thompson doing a few stretches.
Well, Connor Gleeson. Is he going to walk another runner? We're going to see another run scored by the Cavalry. This time inside we are. So the score will continue to advance now to 6 runs to 1. And it only gets worse for the Tuatara. Really, really poor play from the home team. Pretty ordinary in Sydney. Woeful against the Adelaide Giants. And now the Canberra Cavalry. And the great Robbie Perkins. Cam Perkins is about to come to the plate. Another ball, high. So Cam Perkins has a look at that. Gleeson repeats the dose. 2 balls, no strikes.
I think we've got a typo on the lineup sheet there, that's Robbie Perkins, of course, not Cam Perkins. Robbie Perkins been a terrific player for a long period of time for the Cavs. Brother Kyle Perkins on the bench.
So Robbie Perkins, 2 balls, 1 strike. He finds himself ahead on the count. And this time well and truly ahead on the count. 3 balls, 1 strike. So Gleeson struggling to find the strike zone. So a case of deja vu once again for Tuatara fans. Case of deja vu for Canberra Cavalry fans. So Perkins, more than happy probably just to sit back and watch this one. Gleeson this time throws the fastball. Strike is called.
Certainly the crowd here gone a wee bit quiet, but I think this is probably the time that their team could probably use a bit of the energy.
Well, gets the strike out finally. So Robbie Perkins goes back to the dugout, but it doesn't get easier because Colin Pugh will step up, who's already hit a 3-run home run today. He's found himself on base on numerous occasions. He's been excellent.
Certainly showing us his ability at the plate already during this game.
Oh, he's been exceptional, hasn't he?
Certainly danger signs right now, loaded bases. We have the 2 outs. We need to just create that ground ball.
Yeah, we get some swinging, and a pitch that he probably didn't need to swing at, so Gleeson gets away with 1.
Yeah, he certainly swung at ball 1 there, didn't he? I guess when you had a day like he's had today, you're allowed to do that. See that like a grapefruit, excuse me.
Yeah.
In top of 6 with a sort of 6-run, 6-1 ball game right now. There's probably a lot of green lights.
Well, another situation they have for Tuatara. 0-2 the count. Now, how do the Tuatara handle this?
Close the
they
door.
learnt the lesson. Close the door. Go at him. Challenge him, as you say, Mark Irwin. Throw into the strike zone. Don't try and pitch around him. Just go at him. Gets him swinging, strikes him out, brings the inning to a close. So good from Connor Gleeson. Starts to find his mojo towards the end of that, but the Tuatara now find themselves in a real hole, trailing by 6 runs to 1 as the Canberra Cavalry found 2 more runs, both through walks, both through loaded bases. Now the entertainment does begin. So I think this is what we affectionately call the Makita run. Basically this, ladies and gentlemen, is the equivalent of the Melbourne Cup. So they're going to send 4 runners one way, 4 runners the other way. Settle back, they're in the gate, racing now on the inside. John a length and a half head, followed by Paul as the music begins to play. They come around with a furlong lead. Leeson now chased by Kylie. Kylie a length and a half back to Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher, our Waverley star. And here they go. It's going to be this team now. Do all 4 runners have to finish? Are you only as good as your slowest team? This is perhaps the most exciting thing that's happened today for the Tuatara.
It's going to be close for the last.
Oh, it's going to be close. I think the team here wins it.
That probably looked a wee bit more that Mark was suggesting we could do that last week, Dale.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm in a position to do that. I tell you what, guys, one thing that is a little bit relevant here, if the Cavs are to win this game, as it looks like they are on track to do, that would see them have 2 wins essentially from the series, and Tuatara 1, given that we've had a washout of 2 games. If the series is split, the Tuatara would hold the head-to-head.
Well, nothing would change from what we... Nothing
would change. So if the Tuatara won the second game, it'd be exactly where we are. But the one thing that would change is the Tuatara would hold the tiebreak, having won 3 out of 4 in Canberra early in the season. If Canberra were to win this afternoon's game as well as the one that they're currently in, it would see us locked up with both 3-1 records in both locations. So who holds the tiebreak? It comes down to, I'm pretty sure it comes down to the scores in the games involving these 2 teams to see who has the tiebreak. As it stands heading into this game, the Tuatara lead that one 24-21, but with 6 runs already scored by the Cavs in this game, and the Tuatara only scoring 1, the Cavs have scored more runs. So if they were to win the afternoon game, they would hold the tiebreak, which could be extremely relevant with 2 teams deadlocked heading into the last 2 weeks of the season.
We've had a week of terrible weather, Dale, and then you become a doom and gloom merchant. when finally we do have play. Basically, what we're saying is that it's in Tuatara's control, isn't it? I mean, let's not even go to that. Let's just win the game this afternoon. Let's try and win this game. Caber Rodriguez, though, 1 up, 1 down. And now Jack Spiggers, who has been very, very good in left field today. Cannot argue and fault this young man. He's been quality.
But the problem is we'd like to see that quality sort of transposed from the defensive side of the game to the offensive side of the game. That's what we need right now.
You look through it, you don't see a whole lot of really ugly at-bats.
He gets plenty on that. That goes long, and that is into the right field. Boy, he got a lot on that. Just didn't quite get the trajectory right.
Clobbered it into the bullpen, in the Tuatara bullpen down there in deep right field, in foul territory, of course. So, yeah, I think the Tuatara offense they've put together better at-bats in this series than they did against Adelaide last week and probably in Sydney a few weeks back now, but it's still not firing as a unit. You're not seeing guys get on, being moved around. It's all been individual stuff.
Well, guys are getting on base when we've got 2 outs. It just hasn't helped, has it? It's not like we're getting off our lead-off hitters on base, which has been the difference between what our opponents have been doing. I don't mean to be too harsh and too critical, but it's almost getting to that point in the season where
we're seeing no energy, either sort of watching the energy out of the bullpen, not the bullpen, sorry, the dugout right now is just, I don't know, it's very sombre.
Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah.
It looks like it needs a shot on the arm.
Certainly a shot of something.
So Biggers, he does get on thing, and that will be a single up through to centre field. So looking to try and conjure up something now. And once again, it comes back down to Jack Biggers, who has been, as we mentioned, excellent now. Clayton Campbell Jr., his chance to join his brother, or his cousin, Jason Matthews, and try and hit a home run and try and rally something here. You don't need to do it in 3s, don't need to do it in 4s, happy to do it in 1s and 2s.
And look, I can say with honesty, knowing these families really well, and these two, they'll have their own little bit of competitive edge going against each other. So I can see Clayton certainly wanting to sort of put one back on the board to match Jason.
Got to say, though, and we haven't given enough credit, but how good has Nick Bowser been on the mound?
Terrific, yeah.
This is bottom of the 6th. He's starting pitcher. They haven't gone to their bullpen at all, which is going to make them even tougher later on this afternoon because they've kept their powder dry.
From a pitching perspective, I think the Cavs certainly go into game 2 with an advantage.
Oh, no
question. Going this far, this deep into a game. I mean, this is what you'd expect of a guy in a 9 innings game.
Well, there's no reason why he gets out of this. You wouldn't send him out for the 7th.
And that is a high fly pop-up ball. Boss Monaroa looking to try and come around, but it lands up on the Tuatara marquee directly in front of us. But disappointed that Boss Monaroa didn't leap that fence like a world-class hurdler. Jump on top of the tent and take the catch.
I wouldn't have liked to have been on the other side of the fence with Boss coming across it.
Having a bit of a joke with a few of his Kiwi teammates.
But if you look at Boss Monaroa, we said he wouldn't look out of place in an All Black front row. I think we saw more movement from him than we saw from the All Black Type 5 all season. Another big swing. So 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Certainly had to be swung at, though. That pitch was there.
Now, big moment here for Bowser. Thing with Bowser too, as we said, there's nothing complicated about him, is there? He just doesn't really bring his strength is his ability to move that fastball around the plate.
But we've allowed him to be this relaxed. You know, who's to say that this is what we would have seen out of him if we had have had the opportunity or forced the issue and put him under pressure? We've allowed him to be this relaxed.
He hasn't had to pitch with a whole lot of base runs on board, has he?
No.
But he's done the job. Done exactly what Keith Ward
He gets
wanted.
him out on that. Now that goes long. That,
Look,
ladies and gentlemen, is gone. That is a 2-run home run. We talked about the rivalry between him and his cousin Jason Matthews, who hit a home run earlier. Well, Clayton Campbell Jr. steps up and hits a 2-run home run to close the gap to 6 runs to 3. The boys from South Auckland, the cousins from South Auckland, the Bash cousins, get the job done. Superb from the big man.
So that ties up across the 4 games we saw in Canberra and now this game. plus the 2 wipeout games, both teams have scored exactly 30 runs. So in terms of if Canberra were to win the afternoon game, I guess they would have gone in front. Tuatara might need one more run here to keep it alive.
Dale, we need to win the game. I'm not interested in statistics and trying to look bigger picture. Let's just win the game. 6-3, there's an opportunity, just the one out. We've got some good hitting to come. I don't think that we've seen the best of Lyle Lynn just yet. We've got Matt Feinstein, we've got Jason Matthews. It is still game on, folks.
And we knew early. Tillman picked up on that was gone and just gave up on that pretty early on in the piece.
And there is movement in the Canberra bullpen, and this is time. That should be a comfortable little out at shortstop. And so 2 outs, but 2 runs scored. And that will then bring Jason Matthews. The nice thing here, even if we can get Jason Matthews, Jack Barry, Wyatt Hoffman, bring them in, if we were to end up losing, it just means that we do stop the bottom of the order, the bottom of the 7th, chance to walk it off, back at the top of the order for the Tuatara.
2 home runs, runners on base. It's something we haven't seen a lot of from the Tuatara. Is it a sign of things to come? Is it a sign of the attitudes are back now that, you know?
Well, there's a couple of hitters that will walk into this afternoon's game feeling like, okay, I'm where I need to be.
Well, the good news too is it's 2 homegrown talents that have done the job, which is fantastic. 2 boys out of South Auckland, as he has a look at that. That is a strike every day of the week, so 1 ball, 1 strike. So,
and the 2 that are probably going to get the crowd on their feet the most, because half the crowd represent relatives of those 2 boys from South Auckland. Awesome to see.
It's like they have their county shirts back on. I don't know. You know, just.
I tell you what is quite neat. You know, there are a couple of Kiwi players in the Cavalry lineup. We talked about Boss Moanarone. He's got a special game coming up this afternoon. He plays 300th ABL game. Jimmy Boyce has had an outstanding season as well out of the Cavs bullpen. Former Tuatara player, was with the Tuatara the first 2 years that they were in existence.
Well, he's out of Auckland too, isn't he?
Went to Canberra when the Tuatara sat. Had a pretty handy season for them last time round, and went back there and has arguably been the best New Zealand pitcher in the ABL this season. Yeah, there was just a little bit of banter between him and some of his teammates yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Friendly banter, but
fairly lighthearted.
How often do we see it? We see it a lot in rugby league. Often that players get out of their own environment, the pressures of maybe family or the extended family, go overseas, and they do become the player everyone thought they could be. Some others go away and you never hear of them again. But I think rugby league's probably case in point in this country.
I think one of the turning points for Jimmy with his career was when he went into the European League.
Yeah, for sure.
And he really stepped up from there. And I think
two-way player over there.
Yeah,
as well.
And I mean, Jimmy, for those of us that were around him when he was a kid, I mean, everybody in New Zealand's a two-way player back then.
Okay, so another runner on base. Chance now for Jason Matthews to hit his 2nd home run. And take this to 6-5.
He won earlier, so let's see if we can keep this
big thunder on deck too with the former Jack Barry.
Yeah, well, Jack Barry, he's been disappointing. He needs to start at this. He was one of those batters that did start the season well.
Can we get Littles, commonly known out there in county as Littles, is Jason Matthews, a nickname that's gone with him for a lot of years since he was younger.
Well, I wonder whether we're going to see the first changing pitch for the Cavalry. They are going to pull him. He's been brilliant, hasn't he? And I think we do need to recognise Nick Belzer, outstanding. So, through 5 full innings and well and truly into the 6th, his day is up.
He probably would have felt confident to keep going, but you know, right now,
it's a key moment, and a guy that's already taken him deep, so I can understand the thinking here from Keith Ward.
Well, Dugan Darnell will be the new pitcher.
What will this change bring for the Tuatara batters? Will we see, I mean, will Jason Matthews go back to back? I mean, hey, you know, Clayton's come back and put one, he's levelled the score today. Does Jason want to go out there and sort of put his nose in front again?
Well, we've got the runner on base, haven't we, which is always important now. Now you do, happy to see the home run come.
So Dugan Darnell played at the AA level in 2022, 5.29 ERA, 4 wins, 1 loss, 38 appearances, 47.2 innings pitched, 68 Ks. It's a pretty handy looking pitcher. What do you think, AA standard?
To encourage people, get yourself along for game 4 in this series.
Free entry mark if you're in the Auckland region.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Walk straight in and watch the second game.
Actually, you know, where we talk about cousins and families, talking about Boss Mainaroa, his young cousin Anthony has represented New Zealand at 8th grade level and went away to Canberra actually last year with the New Zealand 23s.
Trial for the Tuatara this year, was involved in a trial in Auckland before the season got underway.
Nice chat here going on between
like his cousin, a first baseman.
Fine Fenn and Gus Ledger.
Bit of a shout out to Max Brown, former Tuatara player.
Big
played more games
Max
for
Brown.
Tuatara than any other player. Been in New Zealand for the last couple of weeks. Was hoping to get along over the weekend to watch a game, but unfortunately is flying out today, so flying back to the US. Whether didn't play ball yesterday or Friday night.
Okay, now, so 6-3, 1 out, 2 outs, runner on first. Man who's already hit a home run today, Jason Matthews, comes to the plate. New pitcher on the mound for the Canberra Cavalry in Dugan Darnell. Darnell gets him swinging at the first pitch. Good start for their... Would you describe him as a closer or a relief pitcher here at this point in the game?
He might be looking for a 4-pitch save potentially.
So Feinstein will be looking to try and steal second. And this time it goes outside. I can tell you straight away that Cam Perkins, he was well across it, the catcher for the Cavalry.
It would be nice to see some aggression on the bases now out of the Tuatara. And only 3-1 split now between them.
Strike called. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Cavalry 1 strike away from bringing this inning to a close. And
Steve Mintz would love to see Matthews find a way to reach here. Barry on deck. Barry has the ability to erase that deficit with 1 swing of that bat. He has serious pop. Yes, he's been in a bit of a funk of late.
And then what does he do? He throws, he gets him swinging. Foul ball. Seeing the ball well is Jason Matthews.
We know how confident he is, even as an 0-2 hitter. You know.
Darnell, ball called, 2-2. Good
job from Robbie
at
Perkins there to keep the ball in front as well, knock it down. Feinstein has to stay at first.
Again, a very experienced catcher.
Oh, gets him, it's gone long, it's high, but it should be taken in centre field. And it is comfortable out, 3 down for the Tuatara. And it was their centre fielder, Cole Rodera, who came around and takes the catch. So as we head to the top of the 7th, the Tuatara have closed the deficit, but it is the Canberra Cavalry who lead by 6 runs to 3.
Again. Rule the outdoors with Makita's cordless power tools and equipment. Makita's LXT range of cordless tools take you from the job site to the backyard. Use Makita's cordless products anytime, anywhere. Now get 2 extra free batteries via redemption.
It's always a good day when you're eating pizza. especially for breakfast. As you can see, I'm enjoying a nice garlic knot right now, so could be worse. The dough, flipping it up, trying to catch it, that would for sure be the hardest part. I tried to make a peace sign, didn't quite work out. Emerson here made a nice smiley face.
Turn into a mad face.
I went with the Bronx. I mean, that just stuck out to me. Yankees, the Bronx. I mean, you can never go wrong with Italian sausage and capsicum, or peppers, however you want to say it. It's simple, but yet delicious.
Probably like a Brooklyn seating, maybe, with sausages and pepperonis. Let's see what happens in a little.
Oh yeah, you could definitely chuck these around. I mean, you could chuck them out to the fans, would be a great little promotion there. So, Regan, just hint, hint.
North Harbour Stadium is the venue, and it is the Tuatara in the top of the 7th who trail the Canberra Cavalry by 6 runs to 3. Connor Gleeson on the mound for the Tuatara. One of 4 pitchers who have been used today, and it is Chris Quincer batting 7-hole, third baseman.
There's something, Mark, that just sort of dawned on me the last day or so watching and seeing some of the milestones get talked about. I've seen Robbie Perkins already bring up milestones this season. Boss Monroe will do it this afternoon. You know, some of the players out of Perth as Quincy drops that one in for a base hit. You know, these guys have been almost part of the furniture for their respective ABL teams for a long period of time. They're there every season. The teams build around them. You add the pieces you need around it. The Tuatara are searching for that. You know, like at Matthews and Campbell, 2 homegrown talents that are clearly able to succeed at this level. You've got a couple of pieces now that you'd like to bring back every season and just build around it.
Sign them to 5-year deals. Of course, you're at the mercy a little bit of the major league clubs that they're affiliated with, but I agree. You've got to start getting that nucleus of players. You can build some brand around, build a culture around that become at the forefront. Your clubhouse guys, aren't they? They're the captains.
Yeah, and then it sort of flows into the fans, you know, so it's the same players coming back each year, you know, that familiarity.
But would it not be us reaching out to those organisations? You look at the Phillies and the process they've got with the Adelaide Giants. The Giants, Nico Puako-Greco, part of that Phillies program, but they've just now signed him to a 5-year contract. Again,
it's much easier to sign a position player, and I think that's been a little bit of the issue up until this season with those 2 players in question. Most of the Kiwi players that have been playing professionally overseas in American clubs have been pitchers. Yeah. It's a lot harder to get the cooperation for a pitcher than it is to get cooperation from the minor league affiliate teams of position players.
You know, both from South Auckland with very strong family connections there that have been there a long time and will be there for a long time to come.
So Connor Gleeson finds himself ahead on the count. 2 strikes, 1 ball. And gets some bat on that and does rely on his field. So lovely little piece of play there from Wyatt Hoffman at second base. So a nice little 4-3 play. Getting the ball across to our first baseman.
I think there might have been a hit and run call there. Quincy took off early and avoids the double play.
And this is what we ask, isn't it, from our pitchers. Challenge the batter, find the ball and play, ground ball, make the outs.
Oh, and look, for the most part this season, the Tuatara defence has backed up the pitching. It's done a good job, and it's been a strength of the team. Too often we've seen pitchers try to paint the corners and try and work around players and ultimately let them off the hook. So much better here from Gleeson.
So Michael Campbell on deck, batting 9-hole. I'm going to go back to the top of the order. So Jake McKenzie will be on deck. Cole Roderer, centre fielder, batting 2-hole for them today. Strike not called. That's been that one area where I've got to say Pearson, the home plate umpire, has been very consistent. Seen a lot of right-handed batters. That would be the ball inside for them, for the left-handed batter.
Gleeson's got to go after the 9-hole hitter here. You cannot be walking a 9-hole hitter in this situation.
And he does, and relies on his outfield, and really nicely done there by Clayton Campbell. The runner will advance to third, but there is the 2 outs.
And the 2 strikeouts that Connor picked up in the last innings were 2 very, very good offensive players, and I think his confidence is showing. And I mean, this is a good finish. If we can shut this down now, keep the runner on third base.
Yeah, keep the runner on third base, then we've got a chance. You've got to give yourself a chance. It's only a 3-run difference. As we talked about, we've got big Jack Barry to come.
I think we're going to see a pitching change here, which is interesting given that potentially the last out Tuatara will face. It's going to be Ben Thompson coming out, right-hander, looking for 1 out here. And I think we're going to see, my guess is we're going to see a pinch hit to lead off the bottom of the 7th. I don't think it'll be Jack Barry. I think Rob Emery's getting some warm-up cuts in. He's got the batting gloves on.
How risky here, though, to bring a new pitcher in with 1 out required, runner on third. We've seen so many of the Tuatara pitchers struggling early to find the strike zone.
I think the thinking here is don't let a good hitter who's already reached, I think, on every single at bat he's faced today. I'm pretty sure McKenzie faced the same guy for the 2nd time. It's better to see something he hasn't seen before.
I think Connor actually might have walked him his last at bat, I've got a feeling.
Yeah.
So Dale Budge, Mark Irwin, my expert comments alongside of me, bringing you the coverage of this Game 3 match between the Canberra Cavalry and the Auckland Tuatara. Games 1 and 2, of course, rained out. Game 4 of the series will be on the pop-up channel on Sky if you are watching it. It will be around about 30 to 40 minutes following the conclusion of this game. Now, of course, the Tuatara still looking for that 1 more out to then give themselves that final inning, that final opportunity to try and somehow steal this one. They trail by 3. And I'll get Dale Budge to fill us in here on the pitching change.
You see Tashida warming up as well, so I think we might see some action when we get to the bottom of the 7th. It may not be the players that are currently listed to hit first, Barry and Hoffman. I think we may see Emery and Tashida potentially. So Ben Thompson, local Kiwi lad, signed with the Atlanta Braves, released from their organisation about a year ago. Back in Auckland, looking for another opportunity to play professional baseball. It's fair to say probably struggled a touch starting. Has looked much better as a reliever.
Yeah, you talk about building that nucleus. Thompson's another starting point for this franchise, isn't it? To go alongside a Clayton Campbell Jr.
Elliot Johnston.
Johnston.
Right. As we said, it's a little bit harder with pitching to try and build that nucleus, just because arms are so important. Not overworking them, depending on a lot of it depends on what they do during the Northern Hemisphere season. Thompson certainly looking at playing professional ball here. Just a little wayward here in the warm-ups too, which is a little bit of a worry. So Mincy's thoughts here are you're never going to blow up your bullpen with 1 game to go. You've got plenty of arms left. Wing will start, I'm sure. But with the 2 Padres relievers, Blanchard and Chase Walter, available, we haven't seen Chen Yu so far this weekend. We haven't seen Hung Yi Huang. So, there's plenty of arms to get through the second game.
What's the message here to Ben Thompson?
Get him out.
Get him out.
In and get him
Simple,
out.
just get him out.
Yeah, not rocket science on this one.
Don't pitch around him. Don't get wild. Does not want to bring that runner home from third. So Lyle Lynn, outstanding in terms of getting in front of the ball. Let's just hope the commentator's curse doesn't come into play early on. He does almost get away from him too. So first pitch, and it's miles wide of the strike zone.
Yeah, there are obviously bases open here for Thompson if you want to go down that route. I mean, Tuatara cannot afford to give up more runs here, so McKenzie has been a thorn in the side already today. He's reached on every occasion. Whether they want to pitch around him a little bit. Oh, and there goes
the commentator's curse, and that is that wild pitch we talked about. And another run scores, and that is disappointing for the Tuatara. Well, I think it was, to be honest, I mean, you guys are the baseball aficionados, but I think it was always risky bringing Thompson in.
Yeah, you can see the look on Mincy's face. So that's the last thing that you wanted when you bring a reliever in.
And ironically, sort of looking at Connor Gleeson to say, hey, what'd you pull me for?
Yeah, Gleeson had done a pretty good job, to be fair.
Well,
I understand the thinking. I get the logic
I get the logic, but I just haven't seen enough from this Tuatara bullpen to give me that level of confidence. I think if you were winning a lot of games, you'd do it, but it's just been so hit and miss with the pitching. You've got a guy that's just come in, just starting to sort of feel like you're finding the zone a little bit, and you change him.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, I guess. What do? You leave Gleeson in, and McKenzie hits him out. Everyone's sitting there going, why didn't you make the pitching change? You had the bullpen arms available to you. Second time through for him, the second time he's seen him. Yeah, Gleeson is typically a one-inning type guy as a reliever. He's not a long reliever. That is full-pitch walk and not at all what the doctor ordered. So with the benefit of hindsight, might have been better to leave Gleeson in.
Because again, Connor did actually walk. I think Gleeson walked McKenzie at his last at bat. So he's seen nothing from him that's there and hittable.
True. And now big boss Mawanaroa coming in.
Thompson's just got to pound the zone here and get it out.
In fact, my apologies, it is
Cole Roder, I think.
Cole Roder who comes in.
5 pitches without a strike now. It's just not good enough at this level.
No, and right now, Mark's point was spot on. Gleeson was throwing strikes. Tough being a manager.
Oh,
you've got to make the call.
But, you know,
you live and die by it.
You know, our job here as commentators is you're not cheerleaders necessarily. We're going to call it as we see it. We're going to ask questions. That's all it is. I'm just asking a question I think that maybe a lot of people at home are asking too. Why? And I think you guys have explained it really well.
Yeah, Thompson just settling down a little bit as he finds a couple of strikes.
Well, he just needs to go at him here, doesn't he? Let's just get the
100%.
strike done and go at him. I mean, you've got a runner on first. It's anything but a home run. And you've got a chance, haven't you?
You know, I was talking to one of the wonderful tech guys here with us this morning, just saying that as a manager, you've really got to live and die by your decisions. And everybody has a different idea on how things are going to look.
Safe at second. So, runner steals second base. So we have a look here. Got a good jump. Lowell, good arm. Just comes up a little bit short, not quite the velocity on the throw. Runner safe, now in scoring position. Asks for the strike, doesn't give it. Crowd not happy. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, that's that strange strike zone, and he's been consistent. We keep saying, Pearson. Now, another big moment.
Runner goes.
And he gets him swinging and strikes him out and gets the job done, but 1 run given up off a wayward pitch. And as we head to the bottom of the 7th, it's the last throw of the dice for the Tuatara. It is the Canberra Cavalry who lead by 7 runs to 3. And now, what does Steve Mintz do in regards to changing his batting order, making some changes, going into his squad? Because it's not the table setters.
It's going to be Emery. So Emery for Jack Barry, I believe.
So Emery a catcher who's sitting this one out.
So Emery can play a little bit at third base, a little bit at first base. Haven't really seen him there. We haven't seen him there at all this year. Used primarily as catcher only, but option for Steve Mintz.
And I think Steve Mintz would have been a lot more comfortable going in with that 6-3 scoreline over that 7-3 scoreline.
Well, Barry might hit. I think it might be Barry to lead it off. Emery to hit for Hoffman potentially. Yeah, so Jack Barry's coming out of the dugout now with the helmet on. So it'll be Jack Barry, then Rob Emery hitting for Wyatt Hoffman. Greg Cullen, the DH, waits in the hole.
And on the mound for the Canberra Cavalry, still Dugan Darnell. Hope you are enjoying coverage of Tuatara, wherever you are around the country. We've got blue sky at North Harbour Stadium. It's been an absolutely dreadful summer, dreadful November, dreadful December. Hopefully things can pick up. Not good in terms of the momentum of this ball club.
Alrighty, here he comes, number 34, Mr. Jack Barry.
Well, Jack Barry here, he needs to be patient. He needs to show a level of control because he loves to swing. He's capable. Is it his job to hit the home run, or is it his job to get himself on base, or do you take him in ones?
Having watched this guy take BP, I just love him to get that one swing that we see out of him at BP, because as Dale Budge mentioned before, he can change the game with one swing. He has that power.
You just want a productive out here. You want a good at bat, a productive at bat. Find a way. Anything. Home run, great.
Canberra Cavalry,
take a walk.
3 outs away from taking this game and closing the gap in the Northeast Conference over the Tuatara, who currently sits second to Tuatara. Canberra sit third, top 2 teams. No one looks like they're going to end up catching Brisbane, mind you. I'd have to do the maths in terms of how many games are left in the regular season. Has a look at that, and that is a strike every day of the week. So Jack Barry, it was a strike anyway. It's well and truly outside. That brings the count to 2-2.
Ideally, we'd want to see Barry on base. No outs, base runner.
That one into the dirt, so good patient at bat from Jack Barry. Chance now for Dugan Darnell. What does he throw here? He doesn't look like he necessarily has a wide range in his arsenal, but he also knows that Jack Barry will be tempted to swing.
Big pitch, huge pitch here for the Tuatara.
Throws it, swings it, and manages to get it. Should be a single there. The throw comes across. It will be a single. So a lot of work being done by their third baseman, Chris Quinter. Just couldn't quite get across to it.
There's a possibility that could go down as an error.
I think the way they usually rule out a full-length dive, I think you say infield hit, but we'll see. No pinch runner. They might use a pinch runner potentially here.
Just so now it is Rob Emery.
Yes, when you need multiple runs. Tying run not at the plate yet.
So Tuatara trying to rally something here. They trail by 4. Another one that comes in with a slightly unorthodox stance.
Opens himself up to being opposite field hitter here, Rob Emery.
So Rob Emery, foul ball away.
And I suppose for those who are unsure what maybe Dale was talking about, sort of, we want him to go opposite field. So being a right-handed batter, we'd like him to sort of push it down this, out to right field, down that line, allowing the runner.
Moanaroa's holding Barry on at first, so there is a big gap between where second baseman Cam Warner's standing right over by the bag and Boss Moanaroa standing at first base holding Jack Barry aboard.
Mince, you'll be looking for situational hitting now. The opportunity to walk it off.
Gets him swinging. So count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jack Barry remains on first. Really, really big couple of pitches here in the context of the Tuatara trying to walk this bad boy off. Gets him, foul ball away. Count will stay at 1 ball, 2 strikes. North Harbour's gone quiet on the edge of their seat stuff. Boy, wouldn't this be a season turner if they could find a way. And still that belief that they had through the first half of this season. Into the dirt, low. So, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner on first.
Certainly not showing the same consistency as Bowser did today.
Rose gets him. It's lovely little line drive. You look to try and steal third. No, he won't. So now suddenly runners on first and second. So he gets the job done. That is good from Rob Emery. So Jack Barry on second, Rob Emery on first. Top of the order, not too far away.
Now we see the pitch runner.
Earlier in the game, it's dried up a bit out there. That ball's moving a wee bit quicker across that outfield surface.
And two guys that have been struggling, to be fair, that are struggling to find their best form, Jack Barry, Rob Emery, have just got this Tuatara offence just a little more up. You see a little bit more energy in the dugout now all of a sudden.
Greg Cullen now, the man on debut. He's had a walk, he's been struck out. Comes from the Baltimore Orioles, looking to become part of their 40-man roster, not far away from potentially becoming a major league player. What an opportunity for him. What a way to introduce himself for the Tuatara Nation.
Emery's been pulled now off first base for pinch runner Ayrton Laird, and as we know, Ayrton actually scored the run that won the Tuatara their first ever game at Cloud Park back in the day. As a pinch runner again, we know the speed that Ayrton actually brings.
And if you're Keith Ward and the runners take off here, are you looking to make a throw? Are you worried about the runners that are on, or you just go, look, we're tying runs, still standing there on deck, got runs to play with here?
With no outs, yeah, it's one of those 50-50 calls.
Cullen, it'll be an out to Boss Monterab. They look for the double play, and they will get the double play, and that will bring the inning to a close, will it?
No, two outs.
Two outs.
It's a double play, though.
It is a double play. So good comeback from the Canberra Cavalry.
Laird did well here. He tried to break up the double play. You can see the way he slid in here, did everything he could within his power to stop it. And, oh, gee, that's close. Close enough for you to say it's not a bad call either way, whichever colours you happen to be wearing.
And to be fair, we've seen similar ones. We've seen ones go the way of the Tuatara previously, so we're not going to put that down to any umpire. Cullen did well, but he just ground ball for first. Boss Monteroa.
Real bang-bang play, we call those.
Yeah, Monteroa did well. His throw was nice to second. He got back nicely.
We have the advantage.
Might have been safe when you look at it slow.
When you look
right
at it
down.
again, I think he was probably safe, but
close enough to say that that's a bang-bang play either way.
That Josh Weschler, home plate umpire, first base umpire, they only get the one look at it. Now it is real trouble for the Tuatara with the two outs. It'd be nice if Caber Rodriguez could step up and do something, because we know how good he is in the infield, but we haven't really seen a lot from him offensively. We have a look here.
He's had a couple of loud outs today. First pitch swinging, been caught in the outfield, but want to see him be selective here. Go after the right pitch.
Yeah, he tends to swing early, doesn't he, Rodriguez? This time he does have a look, but strike. Well done from the new pitcher for the Canberra Cavalry in Darnell.
But in all honesty, that was probably, if you were going to go after the first pitch, that was probably one you would go after.
Get some swinging. What did they check the swing?
There you win.
And so, strike is called. So 0-2. So 1 out away now. 1 strike away for the Canberra Cavalry, wrapping up game 3 of this series, closing the gap on the Tuatara in the Northeast Division. He gets some swinging this time, and that is it. And the Cavalry do get the job done. They win this game by 7 runs to 3. And so a better performance from the Tuatara offensively, but probably coming at the wrong time. Some key moments that just cost the Tuatara. I'll argue the pitching change to at the top of the 7th, just taking it from a 6 run to 3 run lead to 7 runs to 3. Don't underestimate the psychological difference that can make.
100%. I mean, what we've seen there is the guys we're expecting to be good for us offensively just aren't getting the job done. We're relying on the bottom end. We need to start batting through the order. I've got a feeling that, game 2 now, the body language, we've got to just bring it back like we did the last week against the Giants, just bring that attitude out.
Well, also the pitches, though. I mean, they don't get off, they don't escape this one. As we've talked about, a hit on the count and then just letting it get away from them, not finding the strike zone, as you said, pitching around too many hitters, not maybe having enough faith in the rest of the Tuatara lineup. Well, Dale Budge is standing by. Let's go inside the Tuatara dugout.
Tuatara pitching coach Robbie Price with me. Robbie, obviously not the result you're after. Talk us through it. Where was that game last, do you think?
Yeah, not our best showing. A lot of walks, 12 walks. Got to get ahead early, and they're a disciplined lineup, but got another opportunity here.
So obviously Murata just wasn't at his best form today. You would see him be lights out through most of the season. Just didn't have his stuff today.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have your best stuff. Definitely uncharacteristic of him, but we know he'll be back better next week.
I did notice, obviously, falling behind early, that between yourself and Mincy, opted to keep both Chase Walder, Jason Blanchard available for the second game. So something to work with out of the bullpen if need be.
Yeah, we definitely got bullets in our chamber now, and we're gonna throw everything we got at him this game.
And I assume Wing will start?
Yes, Wing's starting.
All right, mate, go and talk to the guys. We'll see you in a few minutes.
So there you go, Dale Budge with the pitching coach for the Tuatara, Robert Price. Well, 7 runs to 3. It is the Canberra Cavalry who do win game 3, but don't go away, folks. In around about 30 to 40 minutes time, we will bring you game 4 of the series. If you're watching across Sky Television, it will be then now on the pop-up channel, not on Sky Sport 1. But on behalf of Dale Budge, Mark Irwin, the team from the Stream Shop and the front office here at the Tuatara, we look forward to having your company shortly for game 4. Don't be despondent by what we've seen. We've got a sneaking feeling that Tuatara may be on the cusp of turning things around.
Tuatara.